Yeah. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll call in advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the decks, you're not bullish enough. Traded in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity, flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gonna end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me no way. OnChain revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recaps, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, yeah, send it to the deck, sell it through the stack. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge, look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy on the channel. We cover the entire Bitcoin, crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We had an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for the OnChain Hour, and this day today marks the first show of Bitcoin over $120,000. Yes, we are at 121.098 as we speak, guys, and it is time to get that money, guys, because we are officially in a bull run. In my opinion, I truly believe over the next 6 to 12 months, you will have opportunities like you never dreamed that were even possible, guys. It's been long. It's been hard. It's been a bear market for the last, I want to say, 6 to 12 months, even the last 4 years, depending on what assets you were in, guys. It has not been fun. But the fun is about to start, and that fun is starting right now with Bitcoin over 120. This reminds me of December of 2020. It reminds me of when Bitcoin went from 13 to 16 to 19, all the way up to 40,000 in February. And I do think we're about to get there, but we have to be patient. We have to really pay attention to what is happening in the markets and really gather that information to make the best decisions for our portfolio. And that time is now, guys. We hope that you guys are going to come along with on the journey with us. It's going to be a long journey, but I think it's going to end somewhere between next summer and next fall. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, but don't miss it, guys. Without further ado, bringing my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
How are you feeling today, man?
I feel a little tired. I couldn't get any sleep. Whenever Bitcoin does this, I constantly look at my phone throughout the night. I'm sure most of you degens understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was really exciting. We had our alpha members video. We pretty much called this to happening, possibly like a high chance yesterday, you know, with how the day started. And I will say that I didn't expect it to extend to 123, though. That was something unexpected. But you see a little bit of a pullback happening today, people taking profits, and, you know, still 120. I mean, wow. Just to say Bitcoin is $120,000, that feels good, even with this pullback.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it doesn't even feel like a pullback, right? Because I went to bed last night. What was it, like 118, 119? Woke up to 123. I mean, this just feels good. And obviously, you have to remember it's just traders. There's a lot of trading games, right? People are going to get in and get out, and then want to get back in again. I mean, and big money manipulates markets to the point where they pick and choose their decision. We've seen that right at 9:30. So you got to remember the guys who trade ETFs. They stopped trading on Friday at 4 o'clock. They can only start picking it up at 9:30. So a lot of them took profit this morning, which is very normal. And now they're kind of picking, choosing their positions right now. And I think tomorrow is going to be absolutely insane. We're going to get into that a little bit. But first, let's kind of get into our main topic of today, which is okay, here it is. Powell exit equals bull run. And then we're going to get some 5x gems later today. But so on July 11th, FHFA director Phil Poupley said he was encouraged by reports that Fed Chairman Jerome Powell might resign, though he cited no specific source. And I can't find anything about where he got this information. This seems to be very on his side of things, like underneath the rug or somewhere. But Powell's Fed chair term runs in through May 15th, 2026. That is his last day. Trump calls for Fed Chair Powell to step down. He said, Jerome's been very bad for the country. We would have a lowest interest rate on earth, and we don't. The Trump administration has zeroed in on the Fed's $2.5 billion renovation project as a possible cause for removing Powell. But that renovation project was accepted by the Biden administration and the Congress. They all accepted that building being renovated. But National Economic Council Director Kevin Haslett has it. So the White House is looking into whether he has the authority to fire federal chairman Jerome Powell. And then Trump has said that he does not want to fire Powell, but Hazlett's comments suggest that the top administration officials are still considering the possibility. Insanity what is happening right now. It seems like infighting, and Jerome Powell is just like, what are they talking about? And then you're seeing something about this guy Bill Pulley, who works with the housing administration. I don't know. Does Powell make it to May 15th?
Oh, I'm not sure. There's probably a lot of pressure coming down on him, not just from the administration, but entities that want to make sure the administration is working well, right? I could get deeper there, but I don't want to, because it is kind of that speculation kind of world, right? So, but what I'm saying is, there's probably a lot of reason why he's considered it. That's probably not a fun day of work if you're constantly getting ridiculed, that you're getting phone calls saying, hey, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Always, he could retire, and I'm sure he's very well off, right? So the $2 billion project is very interesting, though, because it is the largest project that the government has funded in terms of a sector that has to do with like a building. I think right after that, the FBI building was number 2, but that's what they're trying to. So like for him, he's probably not wanting to get probed left and right. What is this going to? I'll need to see every single dollar, that type of approach with this. But if he does, we know that the markets will probably go crazy, just because they know that most likely risk on is coming sooner than later.
100%. And like the first thing I went after seeing all this stuff yesterday, and Trump standing next to his plane, and he's screaming over the sound and talking about this. First thing I went and checked was Polymarket, and Polymarket's telling me this is a huge nothing burger. Polymarket's sitting there saying, no change at all. If there is any change, if Powell does decide to do it, like resign, or if they find a way to fire him, this number is going 50-50. I mean, you have to toss a coin at that point, in my opinion, because you do have a lot of the Fed members and stuff like that, the potentially people who would be the interim chairman until they decide on the official new chairman. But I don't know. I'm just saying that this is a big nothing burger according to Polymarket, and Polymarket is real money being put where their mouth is. So.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Polymarket's been a source of truth. It's almost being used as like data now to make kind of, I guess, like assumptions of what an outcome would be for a major event. So I agree with you. I think once that changes, someone has heard something and they laid a lot of money on the fact that like he's going to be resigning, and whoever's coming in is going to cut rates right away.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's move along from that. Let's kind of get into something a little bit more fun here. So we have Colin Tars Crypto. He put out a tweet today that got me kind of bullish. He said, Bitcoin, consolidate, breakout, consolidate, breakout, consolidate, breakout. And then now are we consolidating after this breakout? But if you look at all these, they're monstrous, right? So consolidating up here would just kind of be the more sideways from where we're at now. But I mean, potentially we've already consolidated and we're ready for the next leg up. That next leg up could be tomorrow.
It could be tomorrow, and that consolidation is like a built-up consolidation, right? I that's zoomed in. Is that why it's so much bigger? Okay.
So think of this, right? So this is the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, right? So these are like hourly candles. So you're popping up, you're sideways, you're popping up, you're sideways, popping up, sideways. But insanity. But then this leads into Monday morning, and then you're kind of seeing the bigger guys be able to play again. So yeah, 100%. This is zoomed in pretty far. I mean, this is probably the 1 hour chart.
Gotcha.
No,
okay.
Probably that's 5 minute chart, right? I mean, if this was
well, I mean, I'm not sure. That's why it's hard for me to really determine what
it's
that
the 1 hour.
means.
It's the 1 hour.
Okay, there you go. 1 hour chart. Okay, yeah. I mean, the breakout happened. Now, how far does it pull back? I think that's one of the things that we'd be looking at for this time frame. Again, getting to 123,000. There's a lot of people, like almost everybody that bought a decent amount of Bitcoin was in profit, even before that big thrust up. So now they're even in more profit. So I think there's some profit taking happening right now. And I think this is where that transitional period to where they start to flow into probably alts eventually happen, right? We don't think about that from a step-by-step process. You're just kind of like, okay, why is it selling down now? There's a process. Once there's a significant new all-time high or significant leap up of Bitcoin, people take profit when it's significant enough. And what do they do with those profits? They look for more opportunity so they can eventually get more Bitcoin. So they bring Bitcoin's price down, they pump other stuff, then they get Bitcoin cheap again with the more money they made. So they get, these are smart people that literally rinse and repeat.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's that's kind of what they're doing. But the only thing that I'm kind of seeing now is a lot of people are afraid to sell their Bitcoin now, right? I mean, you don't want to sell Bitcoin if it's going to outpace the market. We've seen this all the way through. So a lot of people are. I mean, I'm in the camp saying that alts are going to outpace Bitcoin, but you have a lot of people that are who've been trading this since December and November who are kind of they're like, no, Bitcoin's the only thing I need. But eventually they're going to be like, we got to get to a point where everything else is pumping, and then kind of like that FOMO kicks in. Like, I don't want to miss this. But right now we're still in the stage of people saying, I'm happy in Bitcoin. I'm up every day, 3-4%. Like, why would I get out of this? And you have to remember the people with that are in crypto now are a little less greedy than they were in 2020 because it's just the strong hands that these people have holding Nvidia, holding Tesla. It doesn't matter what happens to the price, they hold. And that's kind of what you're seeing right now with Bitcoin.
Yeah, I agree with you to a certain extent, but you have to remember that process has to start at some point, right? So
yeah,
whenever, creating the FOMO by getting into Ethereum and some of these alts, there's a step one to that. And that means selling your profits, some of your profits from Bitcoin that you made. But you're right. There is, I think, a large group of people, and we saw this, and I think this is one of the main reasons why the Bitcoin ecosystem hasn't really seen too much success whenever Bitcoin starts to ramp up, is they don't want to let go of their Bitcoin just yet. But again, there's going to be a time period to where that first step starts to happen. We saw it a little bit, at least start to occur when Ethereum went from 2,500 to 4,000 last year. It was very brief. It hit it, and then they got back into Bitcoin. And then what happened? So this time, there's people calling up to like 130, and then Colin saying up to 150. So, I think that you're going to see a balance in different groups at different times kind of offload. This could be the first round that we're seeing right now. I know we're speaking a little prematurely, 123 to 127, right? 120,000 set 0.7, right? 120.7. So we'll see how much this continually sells down. If it gets to like 118 and it hovers between 118 and 120, then we know that was probably that first little group. I'm talking about, by the midweek, because we still have how many weeks we got? I didn't expect it to come this early. honestly, the 123 on the 14th. I said mid-July it would kind of start. But when
you don't get more mid than July 14th.
No, I mean, so when I say but you didn't let me finish. When I say start, I mean like 3K, 3-4K above previous all-time high. This thing shot up in 2 days. You're talking 13 grand, right? Or around 11 grand, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that was like a significant like thrust up. It was very significant. So it makes me still bullish because there's 16 days or 17 days left in this month. So yeah, I do think there's a good amount that want to make sure that they try to catch as much as they can with their Bitcoin holdings, but some are already, in my opinion, maybe a small group, already starting to plan for that next opportunity so they can get more Bitcoin later.
Yeah, 100% there. And but you did see some deviation over here, right? You saw some deviation here. We're seeing deviation, but every single time it's been kind of following the M2 money supply, and the M2 money supply it's catching back up here, which shows me that Colin might be right. We might be at 140 by Friday. Like I'm not even kidding. Like if this could just be upward momentum, and there's a lot of reasons why, right? Like so this week is considered crypto week. Crypto week is the term Washington insiders and markets are using for July 14th to July 18th, when the U.S. House has set aside a dedicated week to fast track landmark crypto legislation. So we have the Genius Act that they're saying is they're going to pass it this week. They're going to work their A's off to get this thing passed to make sure that passes. Then you have the Clarity Act defining when digital assets qualify as securities versus commodities. And then you have the Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act. So they're trying to pass all three of these. They're making a priority between July 14th and July 18th, which is today and Friday, to get all this stuff passed, right? Everything passed. I think this is awesome. And this is kind of why I think another reason why you're seeing Bitcoin kind of go nuts and the alts kind of follow it, because all these acts, they're, they benefit crypto, not Bitcoin, right? I mean, besides the Clarity Act, 100% crypto. Genius Act, stable coins, right? Anti-CBDC Act is against other countries from creating, the U.S. from creating a central bank digital currency. I mean, this is some of the most bullish headlines that I've ever seen in crypto, and I've been in crypto for almost 5 years.
I agree, but like you just mentioned, it benefits DeFi and the alt markets more than it does Bitcoin. So, that could be something as well that people are going to start getting bullish on Ethereum and the alts. We've already seen some of the institutional people, Tom Lee and his company, some others come out and start, rotate into Ethereum. But, these are just headlines. And until we see Ethereum really start to take off and have that strong, green candle by itself, it's not happening, right? So we'll see, but this could be the week because, like you mentioned, all those clarity and rules and regulations, they benefit Ethereum and alts more than Bitcoin itself.
Way more than Bitcoin. Actually, it's actually the opposite of Bitcoin. Like you should actually get bearish on Bitcoin if these pass, because this opens up an entire framework for an entire genre of crypto that has been looked at as scams. Everything now is getting legitimate. And, the maxis hate that. The maxis hate that we're legitimizing crypto. They hate crypto. Maxis just want, Bitcoin. They don't even consider Bitcoin in the same genre as some of these crypto assets, which is awesome, because after maxis, if you're maximalist on anything, I don't care what it is, you're going to miss out on huge amounts of gains.
Yeah. Imagine if you were a Microsoft maximalist. I mean, I know there's cults and stuff with like Apple and Microsoft a little bit, I guess, but like if you were just a maximalist because you felt like it was the best product and company and stuff, you didn't use anything else. It'd be funny. It's funny because like you say this many times, they're becoming the people that they said they once hated.
Yeah, you got to think the bankers, right? They're dollar maximalists. Right, the dollar is the only currency they use. They don't use anything. They don't use yen. They don't use euro. No, they're dollar maximalists
for now.
Well, yeah, but now they're starting to be like, all right, well, if they're going to inflate the currency, I'll buy gold. And then younger generations like, gold? No, I'm going to buy Bitcoin. So I think the boomers are kind of getting washed away, and Gen X is actually taking advantage of the opportunity of getting into Bitcoin. I mean, there will never be a time in history where Bitcoin is as cheap as it is. Isn't that crazy to think about? Like every single month, every single year, Bitcoin will never be cheaper than it is today. Like it's pretty wild to think about.
Yeah, well, probably this price. You're right. Eventually, there'll become a price to where whenever it does pull back. But you're right. I think these prices is probably not going to go below. But you're right. And but one thing I will say that I think that we got to add in there, Gen Z is definitely different, and they're the Zoomers and stuff. They're coming in here. They're also focusing on. We talked about this with I think our good friend Jake Gallen.
Yeah.
The Zoomers are more Solana. That's like cheap degen, blah blah blah, right? And then you have your the boomers are Bitcoin, and then everybody, if you're smart, has some Bitcoin, right? Or like has some exposure to Bitcoin. It doesn't matter the generation, but it seems like, and then the millennials are the ones that are like building everything, kind of trying to make it better for everybody. So
yeah, 100%. Like Gen X, boomers become Bitcoin, Gen X becomes Ethereum, and you have millennials just kind of in there and just kind of building cool stuff. And then we'll see what assets that they choose potentially down the line. But yeah, you're right. The Zoomers are they're just kids, right? What do kids like to do? They like to have fun. They don't
gamble.
They don't care about anything else, right? So, but let's kind of get into the next thing here. CPI. This is what we're talking about, guys. Another huge thing, and this is tomorrow. So July 15th, economists expect June CPI to rise 0.3 month to month and 2.7 year over year, up from last CPI. So they're saying it's going to be up more than last month. So this is good that the expectations are coming in at 2.7 year over year. Because if we come in at 2.6, boom, baby, it is going to be crazy, because that means tariffs are not affecting inflation, which that's his whole argument right now. And why he's not dropping rates is because he's worried about the tariffs creating inflation.
Yeah. And I mean, like I was shopping on Amazon yesterday, and I got a couple. I'm getting into golf, and so I got a couple training things for golf. I mean, they were cheap in my opinion, and I was just kind of like, okay, I'm not really noticing it for my day-to-day stuff, because groceries is hard to really determine that, but like Amazon, when you shop for actual things that you use that are tangible, not perishable goods, but like you're not noticing it. So we'll see what the CPI comes in tomorrow. I mean, they reported also that like for the first time, I think the economy's been in a surplus month over month since a very long time. So I think the number probably comes in good. It would really not be fun if it came in high, but I'm not expecting that.
I'm not expecting that at all. I don't think anyone is really, which is kind of why we're seeing Bitcoin pump, I think. Because Bitcoin, it's correlated technically with, interest rates. And that's what we've always seen. The dollar as well. The dollar is correlated, and Bitcoin's kind of seen as money now. So we're kind of looking for that tomorrow. I do think that the XY is going to get hit. What if this comes in at like 2.4 or 2.3 tomorrow? Something insanely down, manipulated almost. What like, could we see huge upward momentum taking Bitcoin to 130, 135?
I mean, I think we would definitely see a push up, right? And depending on how far we pull back today, like they could be planning for this. You got to remember, these guys are like working for fund management companies that are trading Bitcoin, and so they get some information. I'm sure they have ways to be able to kind of get at least a little preview of what tomorrow is going to be. So imagine pulling back the price and then really running up tomorrow, going to another all-time high. I think it would definitely take us to a new all-time high. And then it would give even more reason for the Fed chair to have, not want to, but kind of be in a position to why aren't you cutting, right? So it's gonna be interesting. Tomorrow's gonna be a big day, guys. I think you guys got to really hone in on these type of situations and add them to your monthly checklist of things to pay attention to, because tomorrow's gonna be huge.
100%. And then you got to think, what happens on Wednesday when we get the producer price index, right? This is the one that tariffs actually really affect, because this is basically business to business, right? And when businesses buy stuff, they buy it in bulk. So this is going to be something to watch too. And the economists expect pretty much the same thing: a rise of 0.2 month to month and 2.6 year to year. So this was a little lower than the CPI. So this one is kind of a little scary to me, because we can come in right at 2.6 and be like, we hit what they expected, but we still rose. I don't want that. I want less than expected. And if we can get that, I think we should be good. But the next 2 days, And then you have all these Fed people speaking on Wednesday, all these Fed people speaking on Tuesday. After these numbers come out, that's going to be very telling too. If one of them say, I think we should get a rate cut, poly market's something to watch, guys. If you can see that number dropping into the 70s, Bitcoin's going to run, and it's going to run hard.
Yep, I agree. Definitely this one's going to be very, looked at in terms of, because at this point, if you don't see it here, where is it? Where is it? I mean, it has to be somewhere, right? It has to be somewhere. But the markets will like it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. All right, let's jump into the next thing here. Strategy has acquired 4,225 Bitcoin, $472 million worth. About the average price was 111,000. So they obviously bought on Friday or Thursday. They said we hodl 601,000 Bitcoin, acquired at for $42 billion, an average price of 71. So MicroStrategy is up about 70% on their Bitcoin buys, dating all the way back to August of 2020 was their first buy. Absolutely incredible. MicroStrategy is doing huge things, man. 600,000 Bitcoin. I mean, insane.
Yeah, crazy amount of Bitcoin. And I don't think they're going to stop. Obviously, they're going to keep going. There has to be a moment they do put in a pretty long pause, don't you think?
No.
What would that be for you if you were to guess? Like, maybe Bitcoin at like 250,000, or it's just gonna continually acquire it because that's been the strategy.
Michael Saylor bought the top in May of 2021, which was around, I want to say 64,000, and then again he bought the top at 69,000. Michael Saylor doesn't care about the price of Bitcoin. He doesn't care. To him, it's just trade this worthless green paper for this asset that's going to be here forever, ever. He doesn't care. He's gonna acquire until the day he dies.
Yeah. Well, that'd be interesting to see, like in 10 years, if he still has that same strategy.
I mean, he might be over $1 million by that point. But like, think about that though. If the company, if they're getting yield on their Bitcoin and they're buying more Bitcoin with that yield,
It's a flywheel.
It's the flywheel effect. So you just get free Bitcoin, right? Because your yield is generating Bitcoin. Like it's one of the most genius strategies I've ever seen in my entire life, and it's awesome that he's doing it in crypto. So
I'm a firm believer in, if it sounds too good to be true, then it is. Unless, I think that I'm adding this to this another statement, unless you're big enough to be able to manipulate and continue it to get going, right? So I think he's probably going to fall in that bucket, because like he's just going to have so much power from a Bitcoin perspective, from his company's perspective, and even if there's like a leak here or a leak there, he's going to be able to get it patched up. You know what I mean? Just because so many other people are going to be like big and also are going to be affected by it as well. And then no one wants that wheel to kind of have like, something thrown into it, right? Like to stop it.
Think about it this way too, though. Jeff Bezos just sold $600 million worth of Amazon stock. No one says he's acquiring more cash. He's acquiring more dollars. He's acquiring more dollars. When is he going to stop acquiring more dollars? Well, never. Right? That's the name of the game. Michael Saylor sees Bitcoin as dollars. He sees it as a better version of the dollar. So when are you going to stop accumulating? When's Bezos going to stop accumulating dollars? Well, until he realizes that Bitcoin's a better money.
Well,
right?
I think
find the best money.
Yeah, I think what they don't hold on to the dollars. That's the difference. Like whenever they sell something, they use something else to be able to.
Yeah.
But with Bitcoin, what they're starting to realize is you don't have to work as much. Like, the other way you have to buy, you're going to go into this real estate deal that's going to have like, 10 different properties, and you're earning this much for your company, Amazon or whatever. Bitcoin literally just does it. You know what I mean? It's deflationary in terms of it's a finite supply, and the demand always outpaces it when you zoom out, right? So that's why I think they really love Bitcoin and they're attracted to this asset.
Yeah, 100%. Little brother Metaplanet buys another 797 Bitcoin worth 95 million. They now hold 16,000 worth 1.9. So this is the the Metaplanet. This is the MicroStrategy of Japan, and they're just continually just copying Big Brother, and we'll see if this benefits them. I mean, they came in later, so you have to remember their net profit is only like 20 or 30%. But at the same time, I mean, we'll see what this looks like in a few years. So Metaplanet and Strategy it could be the number 1 and number 2 companies in the world one day. It's pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, and it all started because Sailor, really, because they copied him.
Well, Dylan LeClaire, right? They hired Dylan LeClaire, and he was like, "Let's do this." Well, you hired someone like Dylan LeClaire for one reason, to acquire Bitcoin. So
Yep.
So the pump token, this is something we talked about on Friday, is now live on exchanges, but you can only trade perp right now. So the pump token sale sold out in 12 minutes. Pump.fun wrapped up its public sale on July 12th and began distributing the tokens to major sexes. So everyone who holds these tokens, they hold them in the sexes. They're not online. If you see pump token on a DEX right now, it's not the real pump token. I found this really interesting comment by Miles Dusher real quick, and it's kind of all about this. He says, obviously, Elon and Pump Fund team want to make money. That is one incentive behind launching Pump, but it's also simultaneously the best thing that they can do for their product. The max extract narrative is false, in my opinion. A token is a key component of creating an economics flywheel's incentives to keep people using the product. And with competitors on their tail, it's logical move to wrestle both mindshare and momentum back. He said, I invested in the public ICO, but not commenting on token price here. Simply the motivations behind launching a token. And then Drake Digital actually commented. He said, would you still have the same tank if you weren't invested or didn't get an allocation? He said, my Bybit LO literally just got canceled, LOL. So I still have the same opinion. What do you think about what do you think about this? What do you think about him saying this is not a max extract, but actually this creates a flywheel now for people to use the product even more, and this kind of needed to happen for people to kind of keep using and having a positive outlook on Pump Fund?
Well, I think it was a horrible response to Drake on Digital. Shout out to Drake on Digital. We've had him on the show or been on his show before. He's a cool guy. But the response was that his allo got canceled. What he's going to say, oh, well, now my allo is canceled, so I changed my mind. Like, he's not going to say that. That's why I feel like that comment was just so bad. But again, you know how I feel about Pump Fund. Look, they made like up near $1 billion in profit. You know, it's not like they need like a ton of money, right? It's not, I don't know. At the end of the day, if they want to continually be competitive, yeah, I get that. And there's creating a flywheel is something they obviously need. The only reason they started pivoting, though, you got to remember, is that some of these competitors started offering creator fees, right? If those competitors never offered creator fees, then they wouldn't have pivoted and started offering creator fees in my mind. And so for me, I just think they're greedy. I think they're just really greedy. They just want more and more and more and more. That's me speaking from just an outside perspective. From an entity that's already really, and I'll say it like, it feels like at least they've extracted so much from the space. So that's how I feel about it. At the end of the day, it's probably smart. It is smart, what they're doing. If their goal is to just acquire, make more money, because that's what's going to happen.
Do you agree that this wasn't a max extract, though? Like their intention wasn't to extract money from the ecosystem? I mean, the way they did it was very mature. Using the exchanges, not letting the token list right away, giving people that time frame. It didn't wreck the markets like everyone thought, because we didn't understand the stipulations that they agreed upon with all these exchanges.
Sure. Did they do a really organized launch and try to put things, they took things into thought and try to make it not feel so scammy of a launch? Yeah, sure. But they're a company. They should be doing that. This isn't like a meme coin. This is their coin.
But they didn't have to, right? That's the difference, right?
So, yeah. For example, like you're going into this grocery store. There's this old lady behind you. You open the door for her. You don't have to do that, but you do it because she's right behind you, right? Or whatever. You know what I mean? So like they don't have to do this, yeah, but it makes them look probably better. They probably want to fix their image. If you go to cookie.dao, they're always in a negative sentiment and they're in the top. So I think they probably want to fix their image, even though they made $900 million off of the space. So for that, I will give them a little bit of credit for that. Yeah. But that's the only credit they're getting from me.
What about the flywheel and incentives now? So now by using Pump Fund, you have an advantage over the other ones now, like Bonk and stuff like that, because you're going to be earning the pump fund token, because they do have a giant amount of tokens that are going to be either airdropped, they're saying, and given it as rewards. So now by using pump fund, creating tokens and just messing around over there, you potentially could be rewarded like you never have before. In very incentivized now way of doing it. They never needed to do that before. But since there is a lot of competitors, it's like perfect timing. I'm actually on the camp to say I'm very impressed by everything that they've done, because I had such a low opinion on them last month that it was easy for me to be impressed here, because I wasn't expecting any of this. And I think that this was really well done. And I think it's the best thing for them and for Solana, everything they've done, because they could have came in and they could have let people, they could have done a pump fund type of style launch on their own site, which would have broken like everything. Trump would have dumped, Solana would have dumped. They could have did it on a Saturday when everything was closed and you had to buy Solana off exchange. They could have completely wrecked every other coin and took full advantage of that, potentially even maybe making $1 billion or $2 billion, right? If they wanted to.
Yeah, they already made almost $1 billion in fees. Number one.
But I'm just saying
two,
they could have made $1 billion just off fees alone if they would have did it this way.
Sure, but again, they probably don't want the headache as well. And if they're the ones that are operating the launch, then they're, it doesn't go well, then they get all the headache. Now that they have a third party centralized exchange, which all of them probably were courting them, saying, hey, let us do it, let us do it, let us do it.
Yeah.
To them, are like, this is perfect for them. It's like, they don't get the headache from any of the stress. The centralized exchange runs it and all that stuff. And I think that's why they went that route.
Yeah, 100%. We mentioned competitors with Pump Fund, right? I wasn't expecting Binance Wallet launching an exclusive bonding curve based token generation event, TGE, in collaboration with 4.meme. So 4.meme obviously is a Binance launchpad, right? Now they're actually, well, not Binance launchpad, it is a Binance Smart Chain launchpad that Binance has nothing to do with, but now they're actually doing a partnership with 4.meme to create a pump.fund competitor. But they're saying it's not just for meme coins. They want it to be for people who want to launch companies, and they're going to help you with that type of stuff, and using and basically get you listed on Binance Alpha right away by using this type of bonding curve.
Yeah, so I think this is just them being competitive in the fact that there's this hybrid approach now. There's this centralized, application, whatever you want to call it, Binance, Coinbase, all the centralized exchanges has it. Now they're integrating this kind of on-chain approach as well. So for the people that know what on-chain is, they'll probably search for those tokens, try to get in early, that kind of thing, right? We didn't have that. We didn't have the luxury of that in 2021. We literally had to go and learn everything ourselves, lost money by, maybe sending it to the wrong address or something, like in the early days. But now they're kind of making that. So this is good for mainstream. Once retail finally comes back, if they do, they'll have more access to these early tokens. And then they still have the very, very level 0 and 1 people that just use a centralized exchange, right? But this is just showing that they're going to be competitive. Binance isn't going to just sit around sitting on their thumbs, right? Even though CZ is not technically the CEO anymore and stuff, believe me that he wants Binance to win, and so yeah, that's how I feel about it, and I think it's smart for them to do this. I do hope that the launchpad stuff though, man, I hope a lot, once retail comes over here, I just hope they don't get wrecked too much by this, approach of tokens. Because, I think some of the bad taste that retail had from last cycle was a little bit of the House of Cards stuff that, happened in DeFi. Obviously FTX with those level 1s too, they got hurt bad. And we need to try to prevent those kind of situations as much as possible.
Yeah, 100%. But you're right, though. You're right on a lot of different ways. There's now they don't have to go on chain to do this type of stuff. They can do it right from their Binance wallet using Binance, right? So it's at least they're making it safer for new people to do it, right? And maybe there might be some nice warnings there. Like when you have a DeFi wallet, there's no warnings. There's nothing, right? At least maybe they can put in some
when you
add
a token,
clicking this button. What's up?
When you add a token, they give you a warning. They're like, oh, this is not in our... Well, I think it's more like the AMMs do, like when you're trying to swap a new token. That's only warning you. School of Hard Knocks. That's what we went through.
Yeah.
They're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. They're lucky. I completely agree. All right, moving along here. So the stock market this morning was really doing a lot of research this morning because they learned about this thing called Hyperliquid. So Sonnet what's that? Therapeutics, BioTherapeutics merges with SPAC Rorschach to form Hyperliquid Strategies, a Nasdaq-listed crypto treasury firm backed by Galaxy Digital, holding 12.6 million hype tokens and 305 million cash. So this is absolutely huge because this thing like 300x'd from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then I heard a lot of people because it did smack back down. But this was insane for them. They're not used to this type of stuff. But SPACs now, you got to remember what SPACs were used for in 2021. They were used for all the fake EV companies. They were used for all the craziness. Now they're all being used as these crypto hodling
Onboarding
companies. Yeah, it's pretty nuts, dude. And, the guys I was listening to this morning were like, what's the hype token? Right, they were like, I had to go look up hype and I had to learn about decentralized perps. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. So they're learning the hard way, and that's because they don't want to be caught off guard anymore. And Hyperliquid getting a MicroStrategy type of company, I mean, this is just absolutely insane.
It is, and but you have a good point. And for the audience, you got to think about this. I say this from time to time that we're the veterans over here. Those people like that talk about TradFi all the time, they're the veterans from that world, right? So they're coming to meet us in our place. We're not going to meet them in their place necessarily, right? So whenever you see something like this SPAC that was created, Hype probably thought this was such a good opportunity for them to raise money, whatever, right? And
well, this has nothing to do with Hyperliquid.
Oh, really? So it was
nothing to do with Hyperliquid.
It was just based off of Hyperliquid strategies, I guess. I don't know.
It was a company coming in and saying, we want to do what MicroStrategy is doing, but we're going to do it with a hype token.
Gotcha. Which could be smart because of the way that their tokenomics work. But anyways, nevertheless, stuff like this, you're going to have the institutional people that work for those institutions hear early about this stuff. And then I think you'll hear if there's a project related. I thought Hyperliquid was directly related with this, but they're not. But let's say they are, because I think in the future, who knows? I think we'll probably hear about these things before the vets from the TradFi place, just because like a lot of us are more connected into the token world and stuff like that. And so this is where, they had no idea what hype was. So for them, they're just like, oh man, do we get in this? Do we not? This could be dangerous. And, for us, most of us that understand how the tokenomics works with Hyperliquid is probably pretty smart. They use their fees to buy back the token and burn. And so this is, in my opinion, this is probably a pretty smart SPAC to put together. It probably attracted a lot of people in the crypto space. But yeah, so I just wanted to say that, we that have been over here, we actually have the advantage. It probably feels good to have that.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is absolutely genius, right? Because now we're avoiding the ETF route a little bit. We don't got to wait for that anymore, because now we're learning that we can just take their degen, which is SPACs, and combine it with our degen, which is tokens, and just create these MicroStrategy type of forms. So now what's going to happen is you're going to see potential founders who've made a lot of money with their coin. Think Polygon, think Arbitrum, think Avalanche. Go create a company and then SPAC it. Meaning, because SPAC stands for Special Purpose Acquisition Company. So the whole point of the company is to acquire other companies. So if I create, I don't know, the dog company, and the whole point of dog company is to acquire more dog, I can eventually merge with a SPAC. Means the SPAC's is going to come in and buy me, and then we become that SPAC. Because the SPAC's already trading on the market, right? People are already going and buying SPACs on the market just to hold them in low portions in case they merge with a crypto company, because they're seeing these 300x's. If you would have got into Sonnet on Friday, I mean, just a small amount, just kind of thinking, hey, they might buy a crypto company, you made out 400% today. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, would have been a good thing to wake up to.
All right. Let's kind of get into some crypto fear and greed here. So last week we were at a 52, which is crazy to think that where we were last week, sitting at like 109 last Monday, 108 last Monday, to where we are today. Yesterday was a 68, very bullish day, and still only 68. My hint for you is we're not far from that 68, but I think we're way under where we should be. We're definitely a little bit
72.
Right there, 70. Again, I think we should be 80. I mean, Bitcoin's sitting at $120,000, and the crypto fear and greed is at 70. Ethereum is over $3,000. You have Tau up 25% on the day. Like, I mean, over the weekend, it's 70. You can't agree that this is normal. This just says what? That retail is not here. Like, what is this telling you?
This has to be based purely on Ethereum's price action because yes, it's over 3,000. But I feel like Ethereum should be, even with like a slow grind up from what Bitcoin did yesterday, Ethereum should be no less than 3,200, 3,300. You know, so that just goes to show. I am seeing some activity actually through the show to where Ethereum's showing a little bit of strength against Bitcoin. So we'll see if maybe that changes. But yeah, so the 70 score, I think it is underwhelming for what it probably should be, right? But again, it could have a lot to do with everything besides Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's the only one that's probably driving that up. Yeah, you did have Tau jump up, but that's kind of a one-off. So we'll see how the rest of this week goes. A lot of those regulations coming through, stuff like that. Maybe alts get revved up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you got Tau up 5% on the day. Yesterday it was up like 12%. Like Merlin's up 4%. XRP's up 4%. Then you got stuff like Sui. Sui's up 11% on the day. Pups is up 15%. I don't know, man. This is some really bullish price action from some degen ass tokens like Titan X, right? It's pretty crazy. You have what's it? AIXPT up 4%. I don't know. It seems really bullish. Virtual is only up 1% though. Hyperliquid only up 1%. So you do have these as kind of up a little bit, while Ethereum is up 1.6. So they're all kind of waiting for Ethereum. You are right. They're all kind of waiting for to see what the ETH does. They're not paying attention to Bitcoin as much as everything. All the other coins here are paying attention to ETH. I mean, Dog's down 2% on the day, which is crazy to me.
Yeah. They are definitely paying attention, in my opinion, to Ethereum and seeing when that day is going to come where it comes off of, the relying on Bitcoin for price action, so that's what it's been like. And we'll see if it happens this week, or maybe we have to wait another 3 weeks.
Yeah, man. All right, let's get into some Bitcoin price action. Let's see exactly what Bitcoin's doing. And this is brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Artura, these guys are about to go live, guys. Really excited for their platform. Really excited to start playing on Botonics as well. I've been messing around over there, spinning their wheel. But when you use Artura in the future, especially probably within the first 3 weeks, you're going to be getting a lot of XP points. We all kind of know what XP points does. So potentially by using Artura, using low leverage and low money, you can potentially earn the ARA token and potentially earn some Bitcoin from Botonics. We know their whole chain is being incentivized by Bitcoin, guys. So get over there, start playing over there. It should be going live either this week or next. Really excited for these guys to kind of really start pushing forward here and be that top perps decentralized DEX that we know they can be. But not only are they launching on Botonics, they're also going to be launching on Hemi probably within the next month or so. Hemi is backed by Binance. These guys are incentivizing their chain by the Hemi token. So using using Artura will potentially get you the ARA token plus the token for Hemi. So really excited. And guys, go over and check out Artura.finance today.
Yes, sir. But before we get into Bitcoin price action, guys, help us out on the YouTube side. Smash that like for us, subscribe to the channel, and turn your notifications on. Also, on the X side, guys, share the space for us. We know that you guys always help us out, and we're very thankful for that. And same thing on the abstract side, guys. Share this link for us, and we definitely appreciate that. Let's get into some price action. We're going to start with the hour chart. So as I mentioned, there it is. A little delayed there. Okay, as I mentioned, obviously you guys can see right here, just straight smack dab in your face, that we had this pullback after getting to 123,300, right? I mean, honestly, this seemed like a dream because it happened so quickly. So I'm not shocked that there's a pullback here. We'll see how long this drawback drawdown happens or goes for, right? We know that it probably benefits some of these institutions for it to draw back even to like 119,000, 118,000 even. But if tomorrow's bullish, then that's going to be some money making time for the upside there. But we'll see. Right now, we just started on the hour, the sell pressure. So it's been selling down all day, but the sell pressure on the MACD just kind of started on the 1 hour, and the 1 hour will give you a 4 to 6 kind of hour time frame forecast. So probably expect more sell down here in the next 4 to 6 hours, right? I mentioned maybe 119, maybe 118.5. Who knows? Maybe we get back to 118. Those were good numbers if you talked about that on Friday. Right. So like now they don't seem like that. It's always, what have you done for me lately is kind of how crypto works. Anyhow, so that's what I'm expecting. It's actually happening right now. We're drawing down here. I wouldn't imagine that we would get back to kind of early morning Sunday numbers, which was like 115, 116. But if we do, I'm not going to freak out because I think this is going to be a big week in general. And we'll see. So that's what I'm expecting for the rest of today, right? The next 4 to 6 hours, the 4 hour giving us a little bit of confirmation here. See this buy pressure dying. So this could actually continue downwards, right? We could see this, kind of give support to that 1 hour chart. And the 4 hour though, it could get really flipped on its head though. If tomorrow it has a good CPI number, it could be looking like it's going to be very, very bearish and then flip based on those CPI numbers. So just keep that in mind. As of right now, it's kind of giving us confirmation of what I said about the 1 hour. So just remember tomorrow's a big day and things could turn around very fast, especially with how volatile crypto is. And then the daily looks great. Obviously, we're just kind of starting the day here. So that wick is going to continually drive down if we continually fall down in price here. And so I think we're still okay though. We had this like on the MACD, the buy pressure looked like it was going to exhaust, and we had such a good 5 days in a row. Eventually that doesn't continue on forever. We know that, but we just got to really see when this kind of stops. I think you and I are in the same boat here. Maybe 130. You might be thinking a little bit higher. I'm gonna stick with 130. I think that's probably the local top before we pull back, but we'll see. And then the weekly chart, good setup here still. It's obviously going to look great. We had this amazing candle that finished off yesterday, and I've been talking about this chart a lot because this is what got me started to be bullish. Was the M2 supply plus this. It just looks so good. And I bring back this time frame right here, which was you're talking about December 2023, where this kind of led up into that with sideways another leg. That's exactly what we're going through right now. Led up here to this, right before, I would say, like, what is this, May, and then sideways, and now we're having that second leg up, right? So it looks so similar. So that tells me we probably have a little bit more to go. Maybe that 140. Maybe I am wrong with the 130 being the top, but we'll see. But so the weekly looks good. The others is going to look good because Bitcoin did very well over the weekend. Again, this is going to really tell Bitcoin until Ethereum does its own thing. So I think others look okay as long as Bitcoin doesn't pull back super aggressive. It's already pulled back, if you think about it, almost $4,000 from that high that we had in the early morning hours. So if we're able to kind of sustain where we are right now, maybe just go a little bit lower, I think we'll be fine here. And again, we're waiting for Ethereum to really blast off, right? I think the big number for Ethereum's price action is staying above $3,000. That's, if it breaks down below that, that probably it's not going to feel very well. But anyways, the others, everything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so we'll see what happens for the rest of this week. We know that some regulations coming through that could make people very bullish on ETH and the alt market in general. Looking at the crypto bubbles actually are starting to get a little bit more red just because of the pullback from today. But for the most part, there's a good amount of green in there. You got M, which was crushing it, has lost all the gains that it had, which I'm not shocked because it came out of nowhere, right? So we'll see.
What comes up must come down, right? That's like
exactly.
it's gravity. I mean, you can't go up that much that quickly.
Exactly, man. Exactly. You said it perfect there. Like there's no, you can't, it was hitting like 30, 40, 50% days, I think
Yeah.
even. You said that perfect. But yeah, XRP up 3.4. XRP's been looking strong. Tau looked really good over the weekend, up 3.2%. Fartcoin is up 4.1%. So we have some hope here, guys. With Fartcoin there. Sui is up 11.2%. Bonk up 4.8%. Uniswap up 7.7%. XTC up 9.3%. You got Crow up 3.4%. Aave up 2.1%. Flocky down 2%. Pepe down 0.9%. SPX, Solana meme up 0.7%. Pengu was thriving over the weekend, so that's probably why there's a bit of a pullback right now, down 3.8%. You got Hyperliquid down 2%, Immutable X down 2.7%. Let's take a look here at the top 200. Top 200 shows us Turbo. Turbo is the Arbitrum meme that was created. First smart contract created by AI is up 28.9%. White is down 10.7%. And then Mog down 9.7%. Pulse X down 6.7%. ZBCN. So I researched this a little bit. You know, our good friend Courtney Johnson is a longtime watcher of the show, is bullish on ZBCN. So they actually are a Solana project that focuses a lot on these RWA type of assets and stuff. So they're up 8.3%. Dog, go to the moon. No, it's down 5.4%, but we'll be okay because it will bounce back. And I think that's going to wrap up the Bitcoin and alts price action, guys. Yeah, some pullback today, but that's okay because we had such a good weekend. When will the profits flow into alts? That's the question. But be ready, be locked in, be ready, because it happens when you least expect it.
It really does. It really does. It's going to be just days of just craziness. Really hoping. I guess I don't know, man. I'm hoping. These times are hard because you know Bitcoin's pumping and you just want your coins to pump, but it's got to be patient. Be very patient. But let's jump into the roll call here. First is first on this show. We got my man Webdro. Congratulations to you. You, my friend, have win number 33 on the year. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, every single day we take the very first comment of the show, and today is Webdro. Let me add you in here. And then number 33 on the year. And then I'll show my screen here. So every single day, I just kind of take the name, put it here, and then see your last number and pop it here. This has gone all the way back since January 1st. Absolutely awesome. Webdro and Lackey Lukey are just fighting for it. We're giving away a Bitcoin frog valued at around $700 right now to the winner of this. And these guys really want that frog. I mean, look at this, dude. It's been Lackey Lukey and Webdro since Danny Boy 616. So for the last, I don't know, month, it's just been Lackey Lukey and Webdro. Pretty nuts, guys. Absolutely awesome.
I think Webdro likes those later day stream ads.
Yeah,
he was like perfect timing.
Yeah, he's right on time. Merlin's Lucky was right there, man. Shout to Merlin's Lucky. Mats was right there. Shout to Mats. Hydro Sapien, man, every single day. Appreciate you. He said, we got this. Check mark. Yes, sir. Malam Yuri is here. It's a great time to be a part of crypto. Let's go. Yes. OnePlus ad is here. Lackey Lukey is here. Seek Eternal is here. Shout out to Seek Eternal, man. I think you've been definitely here every single day for the last couple weeks now. Absolutely awesome. Bitcoin Truth, man, you every single day. Same with Abstract, Chips and Dip. Man, our loyals are absolutely awesome. Just appreciate all you guys. Vader Time, Spin Drifts, Kane99, Glasshopper, bro. It's been like a couple days, man. Really appreciate you being here today. No. Shout out to No, my guy. Appreciate you, my friend. Nighthawk UXL. So GM 250K is just in reach. Guys, I'm in camp 700K. I've never been more bullish on Bitcoin. I just think the supply and demand. Now I think it'll be around May 30th to June 5th of 2026. I think, you know, coming the next 9 to 12 months, I truly believe Bitcoin's gonna be absolutely huge. I think there's not enough supply and there's way too much demand right now. Chief Axel is here, Tim Baker is here, Stan is here. Shout out to Stan. He says BTC resistance is futile. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry. I meant to say stand, but I said ma'am. The Fed cherry picks their metrics. Unemployment continues to rise. Credit card debt is at all-time high. SM, PMI, business cycle hasn't been able to stay above 50 for 32 months. The economy ain't good. Yeah, that is true. He says retail is strapped for cash. I mean, yeah, I mean, you could definitely see that with the credit card debt. Rex is here. Shout out to Rex 57. Thoughts on Arena on AVAX? I'll actually look into that tonight, and I'll let you know tomorrow. I do know of it. It's kind of like a Magic for that Arbitrum has. It's kind of like a gaming
Magic
studio.
the Gathering.
Magic the token over there.
Gotcha.
And that whole ecosystem.
Treasure.
Like Treasure is the company, Magic is the token, yeah. And then so I think Arena is kind of like that. I could be wrong though, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. And then Blunty says vibes are high. Cheers, guys. Yeah, my guy. Appreciate you guys all being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys who makes roll call each and every day. Absolutely awesome, guys. It's been great.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's kind of get this, get rid of that. Our guy hopping in.
Yeah. Yep. I sent him the link. So
cool. We'll jump into one other thing. Let's find something. Okay, this is easy enough just to pop in here. So Bitcoin now has surpassed Amazon. Let me show my chart here. So this is a Bitcoin right now. 1.88 trillion euros, which is like 2.3, I want to say, American dollars, but this is all in euros here. But Bitcoin is now number 5th as the largest asset in the world. Apple's next, bro. Look at this. So it's only about a 20% gain. It passes Apple, a 40% gain. It passes Microsoft, and then I want to say a little bit less than probably like 80% gain, and it passes Nvidia. Bitcoin is destined to be the number 2 asset in the world right now. What do you think about this?
Amazing, and it's what we expect, right? We talked about this. It's going to be behind gold eventually, and no other company, in my opinion, is going to be able to catch up to it.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think Bitcoin passes gold? I mean, next cycle, let's say by 2030. Do you think Bitcoin becomes that? It takes that number 1 spot?
I mean, it could, because of the hyper, I guess, price action that could happen because of the supply and demand effect, right? I don't know if it's going to be that quick though. Gold's formidable. That's something that it was Bitcoin before Bitcoin, right? In terms of how people viewed it, and the only thing is that we don't know the supply of gold. You can always find more somewhere. We know the supply of Bitcoin, so I don't know if it happens by 2030, but it happens eventually. Maybe in the next 20 years, 10 years, maybe 15.
Yeah, no, 100% agree here. So, all right, let's hop into our next segment here. MerlinChain, guys. MerlinChain, they're doing huge things. Really excited to talk to Jeff today. Huge, advancements over the past month or so from the guys at MerlinChain. I mean, now they're listed on Kraken. I think I came to a surprise to a lot of people, not to us, because we do know that when Kraken lists you in perps in November, it does take 6 months to eventually list you spot, but that usually happens. They did it to Dog, they did it to Merlin, so we were very excited to see that on Kraken. But yeah, without further ado, let's bring in Jeff. Jeff, welcome back to OnChain Revolution.
Hey guys, just hear you guys talking about Bitcoin and gold. Yeah, I think definitely gonna pass gold. Sometime.
Yeah.
What year?
Well, yeah. How long do you think, if you had to gamble and guess?
I mean, when I was like in 2014, I said 2030. So right now, because like we did calculation, Bitcoin will be like 500,000 to 1 million when it passes gold. But like right now, because gold price is already pumped, so right now it's about like 1 million, I guess. I think 2030 will be very, very hard, but it's not impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think, but I feel I'm in the same boat as you. 2030 might be a little bit too soon, but once it does pass it, I think it's like there's going to be a vertical trajectory with Bitcoin versus gold. But yeah, so how did you feel? You weren't sleeping whenever Bitcoin hit 123,000. Well, I was trying to sleep. I couldn't. I kept looking at my phone. But like, what did that feel like for you? Do you think this run is over for now until Q4? Or like, how do you feel about it?
I think it depends on the next, a couple of days, the movement, because first thing, is because we have some, important data and trade deals with different countries. We all know, Trump definitely, have influence on stock market and, crypto. The second will be, the difference between, different bull rounds is, is Bitcoin the only token, going up? Or we will see Ethereum, BNB, Solana, all these tokens, coming after Bitcoin, like pumps about like 20%, 30%. So it all depends. If Bitcoin is the only one, going up, I think it will eventually stop at one point. And yeah, exactly. So when you're talking about the difference between gold and Bitcoin, I think that is like I think one of the reasons we are more bullish on Bitcoin is because you can actually use Bitcoin. Like when we have ordinals, we actually use Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency, because without ordinals, Bitcoin is not a cryptocurrency. Like very, very few people use Bitcoin to buy Starbucks. I'll say. I mean, we see lots of marketing, in different countries, people buy stuff with Bitcoin. I would say that's very rare. People always use like stablecoin to buy stuff, because it's faster, it's cheaper, it's easier to calculate. And the ordinals is the first reason we will use Bitcoin. And we see lots of BTC-Fi coming up. That's the second reason. You can use Bitcoin to generate yields on top of the Bitcoin. And I think Merlin is trying to do more things with that. Trying to convince people Bitcoin can be a cryptocurrency, can be an asset. You can use that asset to not only hold but also to earn, to invest. If that actually works out, I think people are going to be much more bullish on Bitcoin than gold, because right now it's just traders assets. If you go into your trading desk, one is gold and one is Bitcoin. There's no difference there. But if Bitcoin can be used by millions of people or even billions of people, that would be very, very different.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. I think ordinals was a big part of it. Showing that this Bitcoin can have an on-chain economy. There was not an on-chain economy like that on Bitcoin before the kind of 2023 boom. But again, different ways to utilize it's very important. And I want to get back to that because I know that there's a big movement with Merlin right now in kind of this approach of Bitcoin and how to utilize it the best ways possible. But real quick, a question on something that could get the alt market going. There's a lot of regulations happening this week with stable coins, DeFi stuff, everything that seems to be besides Bitcoin, because Bitcoin doesn't really need too much. Do you think this week with these three potential regulations getting passed through, signed into law, could that spark the altcoin rally? Is that something you're looking forward to?
Yeah, definitely. I think one is regulation. If the U.S. market or different countries' regulation is more open to more altcoin projects, I think that's definitely the biggest news for all these builders and projects. Second, would be the interest rate, because right now you can see in lots of groups, Bitcoin reaches all-time high, but I'm gonna say people are not retail users are not that excited, because retail users don't really have lots of Bitcoin in their pockets. like I still remember when Bitcoin reaches all-time high in 2021. Every month it reached a new all-time high. People are so pumped. Everyone is talking about it. You go on social media, Twitter is for crypto, but other social media like Facebook, Instagram, in China, on Chinese social medias, everyone is talking about Bitcoin. But this time, people are just not that pumped because the altcoin season is not here.
Sounds kind of like my partner here, Shizzy. He's like, when Bitcoin goes up, I'm like, dude, Bitcoin's running. He goes, yeah, but everything else isn't. And I was just like, okay, it's gonna come.
Well, I mean, it's hard. It's like when you said when you have Bitcoin just green, it's different now. But you see things like the entire board is red. It's like how this isn't bullish. This isn't bullish at all. But we need to get to a point. So to me, it feels like December of 2020. You obviously remember that when Bitcoin went from 11,000 to 13,000 to 17,000. Nothing else was running. Ethereum was like $300 and it wasn't moving. But then in January, you saw Ethereum potentially 4x from that $300. Do you see something like that again, like going again, or do you see maybe nothing really outpaces Bitcoin?
I think this time will definitely be different because last time we had the DeFi summer, which is to me still the biggest thing ever happened in crypto. I mean, besides Bitcoin, besides the founding father, but I think DeFi is the most important thing that we are still using at this moment. Everyone is still using that. And also at that time, it's not institutions pumping the price. It's always the retail users, the whales, in different countries pumping the price. So I think this time will be definitely be different. But it's gonna be different, bad or good. Like we never know.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit because I think AI is actually a bigger innovation than DeFi. AI has been something that is going to completely change everything, how we trade completely. Do you think AI could be that version of DeFi summer?
Eventually, yes, but time, I don't know, because if you do a survey right now to ask 100 guys about what do you think about crypto plus AI, I want to say like the majority of people will say it's a scam, because right now we don't really see many use cases with that.
Yeah,
but I mean
Yeah.
it's gonna happen like eventually, of course, 100%. I have like 100% faith in that.
Yeah, it's when the products that are people use, they have that experience to where because it's going to be it's going to be a part of AI, DeFi. AI is going to be a part of the DeFi experience, and so, but the products just aren't there yet. And I think like you have teams like Merlin that are building the Wizard, that they're going to be a solid product. You have like the Hustle guys, you have other, but there's like thousands of AI projects out there, and they're just basically using the name to kind of try to raise token prices and stuff. So I agree with Jeff there, but you mentioned something about BTC-Fi and the whole kind of approach with Bitcoin, and I know that you guys have something that you guys are really going to bring to the forefront for MerlinChain called Hold, Earn, and Invest. And I'd love to show kind of this image here, if I can remove Shizzy there, bring this up here. So reinvent Bitcoin, right? Hold, earn, invest. And I know that you guys are going to have like a roadmap and stuff coming very soon for users in the audience, but could you give a bit of a summary of what this whole movement's going to be about?
Yeah, of course. So I think since Merlin has launched, we try to find all kinds of different utilities for Bitcoin, and I think that is like I said, that will be the key reason that Bitcoin can outperform gold, can surpass gold one day, because there are going to be more users using that. So right now, I think the retail users first, the hold, because if you're holding Bitcoin, for sure Bitcoin will outperform most of your portfolio tokens, and you want to earn with that Bitcoin because you eventually want more Bitcoin in your wallet. But doing DeFi with Bitcoin is very, very hard for retail users. For one example, so you need to basically use your Bitcoin as collateral to get stable coins from an institution and to go through the QIB, QIC procedure. And when you have the stable coin, you need to find a way to make more money with that stable coin because you have to pay the interest rate for your Bitcoin collateral. So like I don't think retail users can do all of that, but there are lots of teams, including Merlin, including Solve, including Babylon, including all these projects are using Bitcoin as to earn yields for you. So I think that will be the second, I think the most important thing for users to do so. And also the last thing is invest. Right now, I think MerlinChain is the only team who is doing that. Is using your Bitcoin to invest in different opportunities. So for example, if the Pump Fund token was launched on Solana, so you want to invest in that token, you believe Pump Fund token will be more than $4 billion. And you want to use Bitcoin to do that because right now, all you have in your portfolio is Bitcoin. So you can do that. If you see a new meme coming up, on base chain, if you see another, investment ideal opportunity on, Sui chain, you need to have all kinds of wallets. You need to have all kinds of, assets to go through that procedure. But imagine if you only have Bitcoin and you can use your Bitcoin to do all this investment, and eventually when you make money, you can like easily 1 second transform all these assets into Bitcoin. So eventually you will have more and more Bitcoin in your wallet. So I think that will be the direction that MerlinChain is going to give more utilities for Bitcoin to avoid having too much tokens like Ethereum, BNB, Solana, Stray, avoid all of these tokens. Just have Bitcoin in your wallet while you can earn yields, and also you can do some investments on different chains. So I think our main goal will stick to that, but also AI will play a huge role in that, because you need AI to find all these kind of investing opportunities.
Yeah, 100%. It's absolutely huge. And you guys were the first place that I ever heard the word account abstraction. Are you guys using account abstraction to be able to do this type of stuff? I'm going to explain maybe the process that you guys will be doing this.
Yes, right now, MerlinChain is using chain abstraction to work with over 10 plus chains, all these major chains. So right now, you can use Bitcoin to buy, to stake, to swap, to do all kinds of transactions on other chains. So I think that would be a big reason for many users to just hold Bitcoin, because like to me right now, I have very, very few tokens in my wallet, very few types of tokens, and I want to change my portfolio into 2 tokens, 3 tokens, and sometimes if I want to speculate, I can do some small investment, but I want to hold Bitcoin for longer and longer.
Yeah. So your main goal is to hold Bitcoin, use some of that Bitcoin to buy the next hot thing, and then go back into Bitcoin. And you're doing that all through a MerlinChain wallet.
Yeah, that's how the Bitcoin miners get rich. Like if you talk to major miners, they make Bitcoin. They use Ethereum or stablecoin to do all kinds of investment, but eventually, they put all this money back into Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's very true. And it's almost every sector of our space. Like people, we saw it in ordinals for sure. The best traders, the people that got rich, they traded, put it all back into Bitcoin and stacked sats that way. So this is just basically the mindset of really just treating Bitcoin as it is, the hardest asset in the class, right? So you don't have to worry about all the other stuff. So super exciting. By the way, I do want to give MerlinChain some a big credit here, because they don't get enough credit for the pioneering of chain abstraction, with particle network and being not many people knew what that even meant at the time. So great job with that, and definitely need more credit for that, because that's something now everybody's using it, by the way. You started something that everybody's using, so really cool there. We also know that you guys, have been working a lot behind the scenes, controlling what you can control and not focusing so much on the stuff you can't control, because there's no point in that. What I mean by that is working with regulations, listings. Korea has been a pretty big spot that you guys have been focused on. Why Korea? What makes, I know that Koreans are degen, but I'm curious from your perspective, what attracted you to that market?
Yeah, because I think if a country that first has regulations on crypto, second, their users are young and passionate about learning, crypto knowledge, I think that would be a great community. Because right now, if you look at there are 200 plus countries in the world, but how many of them have legit regulations on crypto? I would say many few. And also, you can see in lots of countries, they're just not into finance, that much. They are probably the paycheck is not enough. They spend all their money on food or transportations. But in Korea, in Japan, in China, in US, I know these countries, their users are willing to invest more instead of putting that money in the bank account. So yeah, Korea is definitely one of the greatest country, with very, very, very healthy regulation at the same time, but also the users are very degen. They're using their fiat money to buy crypto. I'm not saying having all these users, new users to enter crypto space is a good thing or bad thing, but sometimes you have to learn. We all lose money before making money, because that's just the lesson you have to learn. Even if you're doing stock trading, you still lose some money at the beginning.
Yeah. We got a couple of questions in here from Stan. He says, is Merlin merch on the roadmap? I have a hat, Merlin hats, but are you guys going to be offering Merlin merch eventually?
I want those socks.
Oh man, those socks, those Bitcoin socks were, I love those socks.
I don't know. Probably do a Merlin Labubu sometime, having the shirts. Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Yeah.
For sure.
My daughter has those. They're the ugliest things ever, man.
Aren't they? They're super expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
not.
not
We
super
have
good, but a couple $100. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. And then Stan followed up with perps are on fire. Does Merlin have an opinion on perps? So what's your overall opinion on perps? I guess like, as someone that founded a chain, do you think perps are healthy for the space? Do you think, what's your opinion overall?
I personally don't do perps at all for the past 5 years. I think it takes like too much time. You cannot sleep when you have a long position or short position. It's just you cannot. And most people don't have trading discipline. It's just gonna be hard because sometimes when they lose money, they just want to put more money in, and that's how you get all the debts, and that's how you lose money. But if you're a degen and you have some sort of discipline, you know how much money you want to invest. To be honest, perp is somehow the easier way to make money than spot, because you're already gambling with spot. Like when we're minting all these nonsense BRC20, hundreds of different BRC20, that's gambling. So we do perps is actually a more efficient way to gamble. And somehow it's more safer because it's all in the centralized exchange, so you don't have to worry about all the other safety issues. But yeah, I think it's like like right now retail users do perps. Like right now, if you go on Binance, you can see the perp volume versus spot volume is like the difference is huge. People are more willing to do perps because it's going to be much easier to make money. Somehow they think it's gonna be easier to make money, but to me personally, I don't do perps. Like I don't have time and energy for that. I slept like a couple of hours today. I already sleepy. So if I have like a long position right now on Bitcoin, I'll be like super like.
Well, real quick though, to add on to that, do you think AI products like the Wizard, like some of these other top products, there's not many, but there's a couple out there, does that change how perps are used if they can utilize that?
Yeah. 100%. Like I think we talked about arbitrage before. I would say still 99% of the users don't know how to do that, and you can see all these huge market makers in the world, like Hudson River, Jump, Tower, like DWF, Wintermute, all of them. All these trading firms are doing perps, and they are not gambling. They are just arbitraging because you have the price difference in different exchanges, in different in the spot price and the perp price. Somehow it can be like 10% off. So if you know the strategy about doing perps and the spot arbitrage, you are making 10 to 20% APR like every year, like easily. Like you don't need to know anything about Bitcoin or Merlin or this project, that project. You're just making money off that arbitrage rate. So yeah, if we have AI to do that, I think the difference, the trading abilities between retail users and market makers are going to be much less. Because right now, if your market maker is here, the retail user is like down there because they're not. It's not fair competition.
Yeah, I agree.
No, 100%. I agree. My final thing here is I just want to take a look at the MerlinChain. You go over to staking. You guys have have the insane amount of yield for these, right? Let's start with Bitcoin. I mean, if you go into Bitcoin, you guys are given 8 to 21% right now. The historical price is 16%. So this is absolutely crazy. Ends at 930, 67 Bitcoin in here. The cap is 100. Talk about this a little bit and kind of why do you think this is important to kind of have on MerlinChain?
Yeah, I think it's important to let users try the product and actually earn something at first. Like we had the Bitcoin Layer 2 coming up last February. People have no idea what is Bitcoin Layer 2. People are like, I think at that time people are scared and excited to try the new product. To get your Unisat wallet, connect, bridge, and then to see that assets in your particle wallet. So like we actually trained users to get used to this kind of experience. So right now we're trying to get users to understand what's going on with BTC-Fi and also with the AI trading and all that. So yeah, I think it's pretty important to let users to do that first, and when they do and they make money, and they are more than happy to do next time.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, this is insane. No one is giving you 8 to 21% on your Bitcoin. Absolutely crazy. But not just that. You guys are doing some really cool stuff with the Merl token. 15% APR on these short-term stakes. So basically, if you come in here and you want to stake for a few months, this is probably the one for you. You can pull out anytime. You do have to wait 7-day cooldown, very normal, to get your Merl out of there. And then also you guys have the Bondit, which is 45%. This is very unheard of. I don't think any chain's actually doing that. But it's a 6-month locking for that one, right?
Yeah, and like I said, if you do arbitrage, it's basically flexible staking.
Yeah, and don't forget you can claim your rewards every day. So even if you're locked up for 6 months, is that also possible for the BTC side, or you got to wait for the BTC side?
The BTC side will be a different mechanism, but
Gotcha.
It's not public yet. Yeah.
Gotcha. But like the Merl, you can claim that every day. If you're locked in 6 months, you get that 45%. You can claim every day. And there's this beautiful thing called compound interest, and that can definitely ramp things up pretty quickly. So awesome.
Yeah, like yesterday, when I think 2 days ago, when you had the pump fund token, the IDO, the price is about like 4 billion. When you to try to buy the actual token, but the per price was like 6 billion. So anyone can make 50% profits on that, because when you short on 6 billion and when you buy spot for 4 billion, there's a price difference there. So that's why I say, I think AI is going to be very important to actually tell users these opportunities. It's free money. If you're not grabbing it, all these other market makers, traders are going to grab it.
Yeah. Question: how do you feel about that? This is my last question. How do you feel about the pump fund launch and that organization? Some people, I'm kind of in this boat. I feel like they are max extractors. They didn't do an airdrop. Like Merlin did an airdrop, for people that believed in the chain in the beginning, and all these things. You want a project that's making that kind of money, $900 million in fees, to do something for their community. Do you look at them as kind of like a bad builder for the space, or how do you view them?
It's fair for everyone to do whatever they like. Just being like legally. I think the sale is kind of crazy, for that amount of like valuation, and but surprisingly, actually, like all these tokens got minted out in 2 minutes. So this shows, the market is kind of having more, confidence in the altcoins, and also I hope their price is gonna be strong, because if it's weak, it's gonna hurt like everyone else, because they are the only one making money. All these other investors are not, making a lot of money at this moment. But we will see.
Awesome,
man. Well, absolutely awesome having you, Jeff, man. Every single Monday we have Jeff from MerlinChain on. It's been absolutely awesome. Love you stage one last time. Anything you want to say to the audience before you go?
Yeah, I think we are going to post more details about the new roadmaps, more product details as well in this week, and I hope the Q3 this year will be good for everyone, because I know most people right now, they're focusing on some tokens they have, no matter stock or ORDI or sats or Solana or other tokens. So I think right now it's gonna be very important for us to pay more attention to the market movement, to get more information, because for the past 3 months I rarely go on the Twitter, because there's like not enough information there. But right now I think everyone should be paying more attention, and this might be the best opportunity to make some money this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a couple indicators on crypto Twitter that make it seem like some people are coming back and stuff like that. So get locked in, get focused, and make sure you're following MerlinChain on X to get the latest updates. Of course, you're going to get them from us as well. But Jeff, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will talk to you next week.
Cool. See you.
Bye. See you, buddy. Absolutely awesome. As always, it is so great to be able to talk to the founder of a chain every single week, and you guys can get updates every single Monday. Absolutely awesome. Got some more stuff here. That's cool.
Yep.
All right, cool. Kraken engines are roaring. volumes are surging. We just dropped the latest standings in the meme coin showdown. This is something that we've been paying attention to. So right now you have Dog. This is about 10 minutes old right now. So you have Dog about 2.7 million. You have Pengu at 3.8. My question for you is, can Dog defeat that enemy, Pengu? It already defeated Bunk, which is awesome, and Toshi, and some of these other ones that I never heard of, but it definitely beat Bunk. Can it take on Pengu, or is Pengu just too strong?
Pengu has something that's called institutional capital behind it to kind of help. Like they want to get on that tail of the F1 car, right? I'm not. By the way, I'm not saying that that's not necessarily not fair or whatever. This is the game that we play, right? Or like they're playing against each other. But I think if you were to do an organic, straight up 1-to-1, nobody would come close to Dog. Bonk even has their institutional side to where they can, they partner with projects all the time and fund stuff left and right. So I think that we're looking at two completely different categories of meme tokens. You have one, the Pengu, look, I say it almost every day on the show. Luca Detz is the best business person in crypto, and there's not a close second, I don't think. And he has, partnered with Van Eck, and he's partnered with obviously Walmart and all these things. He has all these investors investing in him because he's the one that's shown that he can, be a good leader and builder of a brand and company. So it's going to be tough. I initially thought Dog would probably have it. I still have faith in Dog. Dog is just all social, virally gone social. And so these are all retail people, right? You might have a whale that comes in and tries to help out here and there. Supposedly there's this guy, OG General. I don't know. He posted he had like 10 million to pour into it. Maybe he's going to wait for the last second. The thing is there's 32 total laps and we're only on 6. So I wonder what the total volume is going to be at the end of this.
I didn't even see that until you just mentioned it. So okay, so 6 out of 32. So that, I guess 32 days is 6 days old, right? So every day is a lap. Yeah, it's sort of seamless. So we still have a lot of time left. It actually might be smart not to go all in here, to wait to lap 32 or lap 31 to kind of toss $10 million in. But you're right though. Dog has no VCs, right? Except the people who have come in and buy it off the market. Like there was no VCs who bought pre-market like there was with Pengu. Because with Pengu, you were able to go and buy a pudgy penguin that was super expensive, and then you got an airdrop. So technically, if you were, airdrop hunting, you could have went and bought three penguins. Like we do know that some of these these large investing companies have done so they can get this token, but they have plenty of money where they can come in here, and if they want the Pengu to be on the F1 car, they can do that. But if we play a strategic game, potentially with Dog might win, and Dog is a strategic asset because the way everything Leonidas did with Dog was very thought out process, in my opinion. But we'll see if Leonidas has the attention, the backing, and the voice to kind of push Dog to one. It's gonna be a fun race here for sure.
Yeah, and one thing I want to clarify too is when I say there's two different categories, I'm talking about something like Dogecoin, right? Whenever it launched in 2014, whenever that year was, it had this period of like support, then dead token, then support again, and then this boom at the right place at the right time kind of thing, right? In 2020, where it just went absolutely nuts. Dog is way more like that than it is like a coordinated cabal pump like Pepe. You know what I mean? Which people made money on Pepe that were regular people, but like Dog, I feel like you'll see Dog thrive at its highest when retail's back and whenever like that energy is back. But when retail's not here, the VCs and investor coins are going to have just so much more firepower because now you're dealing with like tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars versus trying to find enough retail people to purchase a token, right? And retail's not here yet, right? So it's basically going as hard as it can from a social viral perspective while retail's not here. But once retail comes here, that's when I think like people will stop complaining about like market cap being under 500 million, stuff like that.
No, 100%. I completely agree. And for Dog to be beating something like Bonk, I think we should all be very proud of that, because Bonk is the leading meme community over on Solana. It might not be by market cap, but community wise, Bonk was always, Bonk was a free airdrop, just like Dog was. Bonk was airdropped to everyone who bought the Solana phone, airdrop to a lot of the people. Yes, there is some VCs behind it and stuff that came in and bought later, but especially the ones who launched Bonk.fun. But they're just big holders of Bonk, right? Who want to kind of push that forward. So Dog beating Bonk is absolutely legendary in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And nothing against Bonk. I think they've done a pretty good job for being a meme token, but they're a company. People don't realize that they're a company. They partner, they pay people in Bonk and stuff like that, which completely fine. But it's a business versus a viral meme community, which that's how Doge got to where it was.
100%. Let's move along here. Bitwise CEO Hunter Horsley says Ethereum isn't competing with Bitcoin, but instead it's competing with Web 2.0 and legacy financial services. He predicts crypto will move away from the coin market cap era toward recognizing different blockchains have different use cases. What do you think about these comments from Bitwise CEO here?
I think that people are still going to look at market caps, but I think there's parts of his statement or whatever that we're going to cut down from all having like this super inflated amount of tokens and stuff like that. Yeah. I agree with that part. It's going to get a lot more. Focused on the more solid chains and projects, right? But we probably won't have like 1,000 tokens to constantly be talking about.
Yeah, I agree. To me, his statements are saying we're going to have 100 recognized coins, right? This is such a CEO vision, right? Again, they always miss the little guy. They always miss retail, and they always get bit by retail because retail will go team up with each other, just like we did with everything else, and kind of end up like beating that. So I do think he's wrong when it comes to the coin market cap era. I think that era is just beginning. I think it just gets stronger. But I do love his comments about Ethereum is not competing with Bitcoin. They are two different assets. Ethereum has a financial system built on top of it, whether that's Ethereum L2s or DeFi, right? It's different than Bitcoin. Bitcoin wants, and we think it can be that way, but it is going to need some tooling that's being built right now for that. But as of right now, Ethereum and Bitcoin, they're two different assets, and I completely agree with that. And people need to start understanding that as well.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. You got to look at them differently. And Ethereum's going to have its moment again. And I know we keep saying that, but never try to challenge Tom Lee and something that he's predicting. And he's predicted that Ethereum's going to be, he says the next Bitcoin. I won't say those words, but it'll be the next big opportunity similar to it.
Yeah, 100%. And I was actually watching a podcast over the weekend. It was big Ethereum bulls were in there, and they basically were saying that the one guy was like, he thinks 48,000 could be the top for Ethereum, and his main selling point was what happens if 90% of the Ethereum is locked on the chain, right? What happens if like everyone just locked their Ethereum up for staking? Whether that's for Lido or Coinbase staking or Robinhood staking. What happens if 70-80% gets locked up because people really enjoy that 7% interest that you're not getting from anywhere else, 6% interest where you're not getting from anywhere else, right? So he was saying if that happens, if we get 60 to 70, 80% of all the Ethereum locked up, that actually is a bigger supply and demand than Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I agree with that. But at the same time, how often are they able to collect the rewards for that?
I'm pretty sure it's daily. You can daily.
If it's daily, then like what does that sell pressure look like? Eventually, because you got to think about that as well.
True too.
Now you obviously can do this compound interest approach, but I would hope that the institutions that have large amounts staked on Ethereum would be strategic to be able to create that hyper Ethereum price action up based on supply and demand, right? Because that's how you're going to get Ethereum to 10,000 to 19,000, etc. Yeah. Right? Because if you're constantly selling down your rewards, it wouldn't be as much as them selling down everything they have staked, but it still would bring some sell pressure in. But I think they know that.
But so
Yeah.
to get more Ethereum, like you don't need to mine it. You don't need power like a Bitcoin, right? When you're mining Bitcoin, you need to pay the light bill. You don't need to pay it. I mean, you might pay a little bit, right? I mean, to run a PC, I mean, you got to pay probably
What about this
we're
though?
paying.
What
But
if a company's doing $500 million staked Ethereum and their rewards are just buying Bitcoin up the entire time?
you could
You know what I mean?
sell pressure on
Exactly.
Ethereum and buy pressure on Bitcoin. Yeah.
Exactly. So these institutions aren't dumb, but also I would think that they would wait until Ethereum at least hits like some higher levels, right? And then do that. I don't know. There's obviously going to be some pretty in-depth approaches and strategies with that.
The only difference is why would you get out of something that's giving you 6% yield for something that's giving you 0 yield? Michael Saylor is stating that he's getting yield, but he's only getting yield. I was looking into this from the arbitrage of MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. So he's just arbitraging back and forth MicroStrategy and Bitcoin, and that's how he's earning that yield. That's not sustainable. It's not. If he eats 6%, that's sustainable forever. So why would you get out of something that you're getting 6% on when you can keep compounding that interest when the DXY is dying?
Well, if you're making 10 Bitcoin a day in value wise from staking your Ethereum, then you're buying it at 120, knowing that it's going to 230. You know what I mean? And you're constantly doing that. Like, you know what I mean? And then once it gets to 230 and you feel like that's the top, that's maybe whenever you come down and, whatever, like you go back into it or whatever. My point is that there's probably some strategy like that. But maybe they're waiting. That actually goes hand in hand into kind of the thing that you and I both talk about is that like people don't know when the run's going to stop with Bitcoin, right? So if they're using their earned rewards on Ethereum to buy Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin a week or whatever, and it's going to 230, and then they say, okay, that's it, I'm selling my Bitcoin into Ethereum. Maybe that's when Ethereum like actually goes absolutely nuts. Maybe that's what's been holding it down back. I don't know.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, what if like what again? Like, I don't understand. Like the people who are mining or staking Ethereum, those people aren't like Bitcoin maximalists, right? They're not. They're not thinking Bitcoin's going to be the only one. Holy shiz, let's go.
Shahan on with Shahan.
Shahan, absolutely awesome.
Says Ordinal. Oh my gosh, On-Chain Revolution is the best channel in Bitcoin. We appreciate that, sir. He says, "What's up, fellas? Not much, man. Bitcoin's price was, but it looks like it's pulling back a little bit here. No worries. We know it's going back up."
Yep, 100%. But moving along, SharpLink. Thank you, by the way, Sean. Absolutely awesome. SharpLink Gaming bought another 16,373 Bitcoin, Ethereum, worth 48.85 via Galaxy Digital. So Galaxy OTC, apparently they have an OTC desk where you can go buy their Ethereum, which is quite crazy to me. But isn't it crazy? SharpLink bought off the Ethereum Foundation last week, as now they're buying off Galaxy. They're kind of like, hey, if you guys want to sell, just reach out to us. We'll buy your bags. We've never seen anything like this before.
Not in news headlines.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, it's easy to assume how that conversation is going. You know what I mean? It's like, hey guys, come on, remember goal 10,000 per Ethereum? Come on. We'll buy it over here. But also I want to give a quick shout out to Shahan. He's one half of the guys from DPI Capital as well. Big investors. They believe in Arch Network, and we do too. They're, Arch is building cool stuff. And check out his podcast as well. He has a podcast on with Shahan. Sorry, I just wanted to put that in there.
100%. No, I completely agree. Definitely go check him out for sure. I'm really excited for potential talk that they're having with somebody. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to go. Really excited for DPI Capital for sure. Grayscale Investments today announced it has confidently submitted a draft from S1 registration statement to the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, kicking off its planned IPO. Grayscale is about the IPO. Grayscale is going to go public for the first time. We do know Grayscale is an investment company where you guys can buy into some trust. They have ETFs as well, Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. They're trying to get a Solana, Doge, everything. They're trying to get Algorand ETFs. They're trying to get a lot passed, but they're deciding to go an IPO here. Are you bullish on the Grayscale and the IPO?
I am, because they've always had like a hybrid TradFi kind of crypto offering to the TradFi people. So this kind of, fits perfect in their, their way of doing things, I think. So I think this will probably be received very well, I think, from TradFi, just because, again, Grayscale had their trust before, which was a precursor to the ETF. And so makes sense to me. And they're taking advantage of this kind of IPO season from people that dabble in, or not dabble, that are heavily involved, I should say, with the digital asset industry.
Yeah, 100%. I think them going public here is one of the most genius thing they could do, because what's that going to allow them to do? That's going to allow them to potentially buy more Bitcoin, right? This is a company that was buying Bitcoin in 2013. They made the mistake, though. Remember January of 2023, 2024, when the ETFs first went live, they sold so much Bitcoin between 30 and 40,000 that kept Bitcoin sideways, and like Grayscale, BlackRock come in and buy a ton of it. It was Grayscale was just dumping it, but the rumor was too that it was people dumping the Grayscale and then buying the BlackRock ETF as well. So that might have been a part of it, but we'll see what they do. I mean, but they're planning to raise a lot of money here.
Yeah. It seems to be the case, right? And again, this is a little bit of a trend that's starting to kick off with these digital asset companies that are involved with digital assets. But I wonder why a lot of those people did that. What was the benefit of the ETF side?
Percentage. So
Okay.
Grayscale was a very high percent of ETF. So when you did cash out, with you had to
The fees.
pay a huge amount of fees. They're still one of the high. Actually, they are the highest for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't know about the other trusts, but with the ETFs, they're the highest. So when you do get in and out of those, you're paying a big. Think of it. It's crazy how like in crypto, or like something like Floki, for instance, we're like, oh, they have a tax. Well, I mean, Grayscale, I mean, they have a huge tax. A lot of products on the stock market have huge fees or taxes. So that's pretty
Web 2 as well in general. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I look at like the payment industry, the fintech industry with PayPal and all that stuff. Man, sometimes when you cash out, it's really, the percentages are pretty high. And now they took advantage of like doing it on the crypto side. There just needs to be a lot more competition, and I think crypto is going to bring that. So PayPal, companies like them, they're going to have to compete better instead of charging that standardized 3-4%.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. So Crypto Calio over the weekend, on Friday, actually, he said it's time for the next leg higher for ORDI. And I went in there and I was messing with him. And I was like, imagine coming into the Bitcoin L1 party still shouting ORDI. That train is left. And I said, dog. And then he commented back to me, which was surprised because he has 700,000 followers, but he's been pretty silent over the last year. I mean, here and there with a tweet here and there, but he's like, it's a sign to me that a lot of these people from the 2021, 2022 era who made huge followings on trading and being, very out there with his trades, very transparent with his trades, not with his sells, only his buys. But they're back. They're coming back now in droves. I'm seeing a lot of them on my timeline, and Calio is kind of leading that charge.
Yeah, he is. I was a little shocked to see it. Maybe he has a huge bag of ORDI. He's been waiting. He's like, finally, the alt market might be moving a little bit. This is my chance. And then, the BRC20 guys probably so excited that happened.
All 6 of them.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with BRC 20 2.0. It's something that's we don't know if it's still a myth or if it's actually going to be going live, but if it does, it's not just runes they're competing with now. The room has alkanes in it, right? So and then we don't know about LRC 20s as well. So I just hope that whatever happens here with ORDI, ORDI obviously, this sustained a $200 million market cap, I think, right? It didn't go below that. So they're competing for sure. But the standardization all needs to kind of come together or something. We'll see if it ever happens.
Yeah, 100%. It is funny though. That you have alkanes building their thing, their potential AMMs dropping either this week or next week. They're teasing it a little bit, and then you have BRC20. They're kind of building their own thing there. But then Arch, I feel like, is building exactly
for everything.
Mainly for runes. Right?
Yeah,
because when you go to something like Saturn, you're not seeing BRC20s there. You're not seeing alkanes there. You're seeing runes. So it's like it's kind of like these guys are building. If Arch is what they say they're going to be, it's kind of like they're building this stuff for no reason because you're going to be able to do everything on Arch anyway.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
I
not wait
agree.
10 minutes.
And builders in the Bitcoin ecosystem specifically, they literally don't care what the standard is. You know what I mean? They just want to service the community. And
Yes.
you know, multiple have said it. I'm not saying that like they don't support runes or they don't support this. I'm saying they literally want to just be able to have that solution to the pain point. And I think that's Arch is doing that. That's their attempt right now with their building. But I guarantee you, if BRC20s become hot, they're going to have like a protocol on Arch that's going to be able to service BRC20s. And you know, we've seen Sats Terminal, like one of our partners, kind of take this approach, and it's the right approach, I think, from a builder. You just want to solve the pain points in the space, and but who knows? There was a point in time where I said I think multiple meta protocol fungible standards could exist. That might still be the case. You know, if we get enough really cool ones, cool, like I guess meta protocols that can work in environments that the UI UX is solved, right? It could happen. You know, we don't know what this alt season is going to look like. We can only try to speculate, and you know, ORDI's still there, Sats is still there, Dog, Billy's still here on this side, Liquidium. You know, there's definitely like variables on each side that kind of let me think they're going to be competing hard against each other. Alkanes is still kind of a baby, but you know, they have the support community and stuff. So, you know, hopefully we get enough liquidity to where all can thrive. But I'm kind of leaning more towards the runes standard, just because I feel like when it comes to infrastructure, there's more built for them.
100%. And you know, runes is depending on Arch, and if Arch succeeds, runes succeed, in my opinion. Especially if they're fighting with anything else. So, but we'll see. We do know that you know, it's gonna be a battle for sure. It's not gonna be some easy that just happens overnight. So we'll see what happens with the Bitcoin layer 1. But it's fun. It's fun to be here and being involved with it, and kind of watching the early days of something that could be truly special.
Yeah, but also you got to remember too. And look, I'm very open-minded to using BRC 20 2.0. I want to check it out, and I still hold some BRC 20s. But Runes has that dog army, and that dog army has been through battles. They're going through one right now on Kraken, you know. So the ORDI army or whatever block, you better prepare like a crazy one, because you got a crazy bunch of people that are willing to die for dog. No, I'm just kidding. But
all right, let's get to the final thing here. Opportunities ready to 5x. So with Bitcoin climbing, we have to look and see where we can make money at. Where is the speculation going? What can we speculate on that could go 5x? None of this is obviously financial advice. It's just kind of what we're thinking. I'm going to give you my 5. Yagobi will give you his. I'm going to give you a coin and then tell you why I think that way. The first coin is Dog. I think Dog obviously has the most incredible community out there. It has the #1 token on Bitcoin, which is a huge narrative, in my opinion, that no one's talking about. And it could really 10, 20, 30x. 5x could be a minimum. I think it has a lot of catching up to do to some of the bigger memes. I'm going to go with Dog there. And I think Tau as my #2 there is BitTensor. BitTensor is something that it has a halving in December. It has Bitcoin's tokenomics style, 21 million and all that stuff, and having every 4 years. It's having, like I said, December. This is gonna be absolutely huge for something like Tau, because it has an ecosystem building on it with the alpha tokens that are there. So Tau is my number two. Hustle is actually my #3. I think what Emblem Vault is doing is I mean, sitting there at what is it, little $1.8 million market cap for what it's able to do. And you know, with the V3 dropping next week, I think this is absolutely huge. They just did the migration from the TNSR token. Hustle is something that I truly believe is going to 10x probably within the next couple months. I'm not even joking about that. And then my 4th token is FLDT. That's Fluid. I know like these two are partners of ours, Hustle but I just truly believe in what they're building. And Fluid is kind of my Cardano play. As you can see, when Bitcoin first started going up again, Cardano went up 20%, right? So what does that do when that trickles down? That goes into some Cardano alts. And I think Fluid, FLDT, is going to be something that could truly 5-10x here within the next couple months. I think I could even probably do higher numbers than that because I just truly believe in those devs too. And yeah, absolutely. And you got to remember too, they're a Rune. They're building in Bitcoin. Could be huge. And then my fifth one is Sonic. Truly bullish on Sonic for a lot of reasons. The main reason is the two top guys there, Michael Kong and Andre Kranja. Andre Kranja is the godfather of DeFi. He's one of the early DeFi creators. Most of the stuff that you see DeFi was a product of his brainchild, right? Like he really started a lot of the crazy DeFi stuff. Yes, he used this mechanism of high yield through inflation of the token, and then we all know how that ended. But he's somebody also who is very good at strategy, and I think him and Michael Kong are going to sit down and they're going to figure out ways to make Sonic one of the top chains here. So really excited. So Dog, Tau, Hustle, FLDT, and Sonic are 5 coins that I think that can 5x in the next potentially a couple months.
Yeah, there's definitely some solid ones there. I think I might have one or two that are the same here, but mine are not in a specific order. I have 5, and then I have a couple sleepers. So I agree with you on Tau. I think the 21 million total supply, can create really a hyper demand as they continue with their what are they called? Their subnets. Right.
Subnets,
subnet tokens and stuff like that. Everybody seems to be really bullish on Tau as well. And whenever you start to get a certain belief in a token like Tau, you start to replicate or try to a little bit replicate Bitcoin, right? In terms of like you believe in it. They have the same tokenomics. Everybody thinks that Tau is going to be huge in the future. I agree. It's at 4 billion right now, but I think that's actually relatively small for Tau. If you're comparing it to something like Doge at 26 billion or something, really, really bigger that might not should, or it doesn't seem like the market cap correlates with, the actual project itself. Obviously, it's a meme, Doge, but we'll see. All right, the next one here is one that we just had Jeff on. I think Merl right now, a lot of people are overlooking it because of the price action, but you got to understand kind of the leadership of that chain and how they think when they get locked in. We're starting to see it the past 3, 4, or 5 months. Regulations, getting on Kraken. He's not going to be done there. He's getting on these major exchanges in Korea. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets on another big exchange in the US. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but when it comes to getting ready for a possible alt market, I think like him and his team are probably one of the best that can prepare for that. And I think we see some big stuff happening as closer that we get to Q4. So the market cap of that is only 78 million, right? So I think that's why I picked it too, because that upside is it's there, right? Next is Aerodrome. Aerodrome is an AMM.
Yeah, I didn't think about them.
Yeah, Aerodrome is an AMM. Right now, the market cap is a little bit high for how newer they seem, I guess. And maybe we just didn't catch them because we got them more in the headlines.
They dropped when base dropped in 2022, in November 2022.
So they've been building their market cap up, and I'm sure once Coinbase announced that they were going to utilize them as their AMM servicer for the on-chain part, that a lot of investors came in. Their market cap's at 1.42 billion. If you look at something like Uniswap, which has been kind of that standard on the EVM side, they're at like 5 billion. So I think they could at least maybe in a bull market they could probably 3 to 5x maybe, so they're also not only gonna, I think they're on the Inky chain as well, or the Ink chain, which is Kraken's EVM as well. So, maybe they're going to be a servicer there too. The next one is actually one. So I did some that were a little bit larger market caps. That's maybe safer 3 to 5x, and then a couple like Merlin, that's 78 million. You can possibly 10x that or more. Cookie is one. Cookie DAO to me, because I feel like they're very involved with like social sentiment. They have multiple different product offerings. Their market cap is 117 million. With 1 billion supply, and I catch myself using it all the time for the dog sentiment and stuff like that. And the last one of the top 5, or like in that group of 5, is Magic Eden. And now this also is dependent upon if Magic Eden fulfills what I think should be their destiny for the cycle, and that's getting the slingshot stuff good, offering more of a better UI UX and things like that. If they're not careful, they could fall into this complacency that OpenSea did, you know, before they benefited because of that complacency of OpenSea. Now, give them all the credit in the world. They rolled the dice on ordinals. It worked for them. They became huge. They started offering tokens on their platform as well as art. So they have an opportunity to really be something huge that's formidable for a long time. But they got to keep on that gas. If they do that, then I think there'll be a huge opportunity because they're sitting at $128 million market cap with, you know, an entity that could continually grow in volume and acquire more platforms like Slingshot. So those are the 5 that I have. A couple of sleepers. Dog, obviously. The reason why I didn't put it in there is because it is $500 million market cap as a meme, but I actually think that's low for what it is, like the social power that it has, right? So that's why I think I think it should be $1 billion market cap minimum. So because of that, I think the upside is there. And then a utility rune that I have is Liquidium. I think Liquidium is an OG brand in the space. They got a lot of, you know, street cred, if you will, like for the Bitcoin ecosystem. And they're open-minded too. They're not your typical maxi builders that are like, oh, layer 1 only, blah, blah, blah. They're versatile enough to understand that to be a good business-minded owner or business in general, you got to be okay with not being stubborn of one way of thinking if it can help you grow your business and help your customers or the end user have a better experience. And they're very much like that. So that's what I got.
Yeah. I love it, dude. I really do. I think your 5s. I'm now like reconsidering not having Magic Eden on there, and a few other ones for sure. I mean, 100%. But guys, we're just kind of having fun with this, kind of throwing our ideas out. Let us know in the chat what you guys like. Is there anybody in there commenting on this? Yeah, not really. So,
well, he said consensus on Tau has virtuals plateaued. Thanks.
Yeah, let me ask you that question. Why wasn't virtuals on your list?
I feel like virtuals kind of has a little bit of this. I think what they've created has been really good in terms of like revenue and stuff like that. But they have this almost like last cycle degen kind of the pump fund a little bit too much for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though I know like a lot of their projects are AI, I mean, that's all pretty much what they focus on. That, you know, earlier when we were talking to Jeff about like AI and how there's a couple that have solid projects, but then there's like thousands that are like just trying to raise coins. A lot of those come from virtuals, in my opinion.
100%.
So,
yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't like the pump and dump society that like pump fun and virtuals create it. So in my opinion, I just don't want to be a part of that. I just feel like that's a very icky type of place. For me, it's don't trade, invest, and I don't feel like you can invest in projects on virtuals because of how that community is. I mean, they post about Jeet jail and how they cheated and how they're in jail, and it just doesn't feel right for me. Stan says Aerodrome, Moonwell, Morpho are all built with the OP stack. In the channel's opinion, why has Optimism been lackluster? So Optimism was in a different business. You have to remember, Optimism is in the business of helping chains roll up. So Optimism is no longer, they don't want to compete. They made insane technology using optimistic rollups to where they're able to take and change up. So they don't want to have to compete with someone like Coinbase. Like, why would you want to compete with Coinbase when you can actually just be the technology that's actually built using right? Base is using Optimism, and they're coming. Like, I think Sony is using Optimism and a bunch of other ones. So they actually want to be the B2B product. Yeah, exactly. Underneath that. So Optimism, they're doing all the transactions for Coinbase. I mean, not the transactions that are happening on the base chain, but the transactions that are leading up to landing on Ethereum.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a part of our industry, a segment of our industry that grows, and we're going to start to see more and more revenue being reported, possibly from these companies, if they want their coin to go up in value, right? I think that's what he's more asking, like, why has the token not really done much, right? I think it's because they're like Susie said, they don't really care to be in the news. They don't really care to be hyped up. What they're doing is they're onboarding brands. And I have a very, very strong feeling Arbitrum's going to be a big competitor of theirs. Because Arbitrum, I think, is onboarded Robinhood, correct or no?
Arbitrum, Robinhood. Yeah, Robinhood
Yeah.
Chain's going to be using Arbitrum's roll-up technology to roll it up to ETH-L1.
Yeah, exactly. So once these companies, if there's this new format to where these companies start reporting their revenue, I think from a B2B standard, if you're able to kind of help a lot of these brands create their own layer 2s or layer 3, whatever you want to, call it, they're charging a servicing fee. They have to be, right? And so I think we'll see like the revenue continually grow for some of these, and they could be really, really like profitable in the long run. We don't know how much they're charging, and then I think that's whenever maybe it kicks into the token price, because they don't care. I feel like they're kind of like Chainlink. They don't care if their token goes up or down right now. You know what I mean? They're just like, we just need to continue the sustainability business model that we have, which is B2B, white gloving these layer 2s or doing the work for these brands and stuff.
Yeah, and just to add on what you say, Optimism is a leveraged play on Ethereum, right? So to say why it hasn't gone up, you can say the same question about Ethereum. And so when Ethereum goes up 10%, Optimism is going to go up 30%. And Optimism, what they want you to do, Coinbase actually had to buy Optimism tokens and lock them up. So you're actually locking up the Optimism or Op token to be using their technology as well. So I don't know if they're taking the payment in Optimism. They're doing something with the optimistic token or the OPT token with these chains. So this token is going to be very sought after if you need to use their roll up using this. So they're doing something with the token. I got to look into it a little bit. It's been a long time since I looked into it, but you got to remember what they are is they're an ETH L2 leverage play. They're a leverage play on Ethereum. Ethereum goes to 4,000. They're going to skyrocket up 100%.
Yeah.
Myself says bitmaps are 100x from all time. If the metaverse narrative comes to Bitcoin, I think so. Let me ask you this question, myself. If you're a company and you're building, why would you use bitmaps? Why not just create your own NFT that you can get people to buy and you can make money to keep your building moving to kind of raise money? Why would you use bitmaps? You might say the community. The community, though, is very lackluster in my opinion. There's members of that community that are very strong, but there's other members who just like to trash everything and anything, right? So to me, I don't think bitmaps is a viable option for investment, and that's just in my opinion. I just think that there's nobody really building there, and the people that are building are very small in the sense of having runway. You want to give a take on that?
Yeah, I mean, well, the runway discussion, I don't know anybody that probably got seated or anything from that, but like there was probably a small window to where that could have happened, but I think like the timing wasn't right with like when investors were interested in the Bitcoin ecosystem. You know what I mean? Because there was a moment where like bitmaps, like the I guess like the viral aspect of it and like the strength of like the concept was strong. But I think when I look at my crypto Twitter timeline, I'm just not seeing. I don't even see anything anymore. It's actually kind of, what's going on.
Yeah. Well, they gave up. I mean, when you see $8 bitmaps, you kind of lose everything, right? You kind of lose all momentum to keep pushing forward, and that's kind of what you're saying. Can it come back? Sure, but they need someone to come in and say, I'm going to build for this community, and the community is going to have to like help them. And I just don't know how the community is going to be able to help them because, but who knows, right? But I'm not bullish on bitmaps.
If I were to bet on it, I think that they would make a comeback in a good environment. Like you're talking about, like once like we're in risk on, people are making lots of money. That type of like NFTs have to be thriving, and then they'll make a comeback because then the concept will be readdressed and stuff like that. So.
But NFTs are thriving, and bitmaps still going down.
I mean, really dude, thriving.
Hold on. Look at this, 41%. This is 1 day. Let's go to the 7 day. 92% for Node Monkeys, 49% for Puppet, 67%. These are 218% for Adderall. Frogs are up 25%. This is striving. And then you go to something like Bitmap. I don't even know where. I mean, up 8%. I mean, that's just sad because it's $10. Well,
yeah.
like 80 cents, but yeah.
So when I think thriving, I think about like what people were selling them for whenever we released ours.
92% though in 7 days.
Let's see if this continues, because it's 10x down from probably the all-time high of when it was selling, right? Maybe even more than 10x down. But yeah, it's a good start for sure. I just saw them last week and they were 3,700. So
yeah,
being
now
52
they're
to 3700.
Yeah. So 100%. Stan says, wow, great take. I wonder if ICP is taking on OP's philosophy. Thanks. So they are. They're actually, well, they are, ain't they? With Odin, isn't Odin kind of doing that? But they're not rolling up the transactions.
It's more of a just a scaled solution versus like actually creating a whole new environment blockchain separately. Well, okay. Okay, so because I think Bob's approach was custom, I think it is like almost like a fork of what ICP created, but they just get the support and stuff because it's the same tech stack, except for with the customizations. Maybe, I don't know. We got to probably get more clarity on that, but it seemed like that's what he was saying. So I don't think they're taking the approach in terms of as a servicer though. Like, you know, Optimism and Arbitrum, I think that's a legitimate, like, this is the contract, this is the deal, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to build this out for you, et cetera, et cetera. I think with ICP, they just want to support someone that's from their community and the Bitcoin community that created, you know, this platform called Odin. And, you know, but could it? Sure. I mean, a lot of people talk about ICP's tech stack being the most like friendly in terms of scalability and stuff like that. So
what if you could roll up the Odin transactions and had them finalize on ICP?
Well,
like that would be a secondary level of finality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Same reason why you would roll up bases and put them on Ethereum.
Yeah.
Myself says my girlfriend's main position is Pixel. That gaming token is all she wants to DCA into. Pixel? You know anything about Pixel? I swear, some of you guys, man, are into some stuff that it's crazy that I never heard about it. But I haven't really been listening to my YouTube stuff and stuff like that. But I got to get back into it as the bull run comes. And then Erdrick says Adderall has timed it perfectly. Yeah, again, dude, I definitely missed on that. Where's Danny Boy? Danny Boy usually catches us up with this stuff. Danny Boy, what's going on, man? You stopped watching. You stopped telling me about these cracked out cats, bro. I seen a couple of these on in up at Kensington. But
oh my god, that's funny. But I mean, I guess their launch kind of did come in, you know, around the right time. If we start seeing ordinals like node monks get to like 10, 12K, I'm gonna feel good because because I have node monks, but just because I feel like money's flowing in now.
100%. And no, I agree. I completely agree with that. But that is our show for you guys today. We got 236 people on YouTube and X, not to mention everyone on Twitch, Abstract, Kick, Rumble, and Spotify later. We appreciate every single one of you guys who watch every single day. And remember, we go live every day, guys. Come tune in every day. We need more people in the chat. Come on, bring in the chat, guys. And I know we don't get to your comments in the beginning of the show, but we'll get to every single comment in roll call. And at the end, we appreciate every single comments, guys. Bring the heat. Bring more questions. Bring more talking, guys. Let's bring the engagement, please. I beg you.
For sure, guys. We thank each and every one of you guys for checking us out, watching us. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. And also without our partners, we couldn't do it. So if you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate it. Sats Terminal is the DEX aggregator for the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're going to be buying Doggo to the Moon, you got to do it at satsterminal.com. You know, you're going to be able to find the cheapest and most liquid tokens there. All the runes are there. You can actually buy alkanes as well. So one thing too is that you earn Amber points. And what are Amber points? Amber points are an XP style kind of system that the team is going to be giving back towards early adopters, right? So you earn those points. First connecting your wallet gets you 1,000. Eventually, that's going to go down to 100. So make sure you're taking advantage of that now. Also, they're going to have some new features coming on, and I think Wednesday we might have a collaboration guest with them. So just stay tuned to that segment on Wednesday. But head over to satterminal.com today, and then Emblem Vault is the interoperability tooling of the Bitcoin ecosystem. You're going to be able to jump your ordinals, your NFTs, your Bitcoin NFTs, rare pepes, etc., from Bitcoin Layer 1 to Ethereum. You can do that right now with the Taproot Wizard, and you can take a loan out against your wizard on the Gandhi platform. And you're going to be able to do that with anything on the Bitcoin side. And you can look forward to being able to do that with Base, Abstract, possibly MerlinChain. I know they're focusing on Solana as well, being added to that list. But once they add the Bitcoin tech stack to their AI agent hustle, you're going to be able to use the AI to help you vault all these NFTs. Speaking of the AI, you can use Hustle right now to kind of guide you through Solana. You ask him questions about tokens, what's the hottest token, all these questions. He's going to come back with all the answers. He scans the chain. He gets all the information for you, right? Just look at him as a tool, kind of like a guide, right? And eventually they're going to be adding the next version, which is going to be having conditional trading. So you can actually set trades and then go away and come back and they'll be completed, right? So super exciting stuff, guys. Remember, I think they got one more day. I think you got one more day possibly to transfer your Tensor tokens to the Hustle token. So make sure you go to migrate.fund to do that. Really simple, straightforward there. And we put out a tutorial in our YouTube library to check that out. Head over to agenthustle.ai to learn more there. And lastly, they have a TGE for their Bitcoin Rune, which is going to be the main token of their entire ecosystem. You can purchase a NFT right now at OpenSea in their pre-sale. If you search Emblem Founder Vaults, and then once we get close to their TGE in September, October, they are going to give instructions on how to get that Bitcoin wallet and with those runes in there. Head over to emblem.vision today. And then Artura.finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're looking to trade Dog Go to the Moon, $1 billion cat, ORDI, Sats, fungible Bitcoin, synthetic tokens, they're going to have that in the near future. But first, they're going to kick off with Bitcoin, Ethereum, the basic ones, and then be adding XRP, Tau, and some popular ones outside the ecosystem, and then the Bitcoin fungibles. Then they're going to be going on mainnet any day on Botonics, the Spider chain. You can kind of double dip there, earn by using their platform on Botonics, and then earn the Botonics points as well as the Artura points. And then a little bit after that, they're going to be launching on Hemi Bitcoin Layer 2. So head over to Artura.finance, learn about their team, and dive into their Discord. Ask any questions you have. And then Fluid Tokens, building the staking vaults on Bitcoin Layer 1, the first to offer staking vaults. I think you might not be showing your screen. There you go. The first to offer staking vaults on Bitcoin Layer 1. They have done Dog Go to the Moon Season 1 and Season 2. They're about to have Season 3 at the end of this month or beginning of August. You're going to be able to stake alkanes to earn Dog or stake Dog to earn alkanes. You want to take advantage of that. Also, they have an airdrop tool there on their platform on the Bitcoin side. If you want to airdrop runes or alkanes, head over there to the tab and you can either upload a CSV file or you can do it manually. And then on the Cardano side, you can participate in the Aquarium platform and earn Babel fees by adding liquidity so people can use other tokens other than ADA for Cardano transactions. Head over to fluidtokens.com today. And then MerlinChain is focused on, the hold, stake, or hold, earn. And I think the last one was, I can't remember what that last one is, but yeah, you're muted. But
Invest.
Yeah. Sorry, it's something they're focused on, guys. So make sure that you're following them because once they release that roadmap, you want to check it out. But they have been, partnering with all these entities. Wrap Bitcoin. They're on Binance Alpha. So we're kind of expecting Binance to make an announcement. We'll see what happens there, but they got listed on Kraken as well. If you want to help secure the chain, there's 3 options with the proof of stake. You can do so by going to merlinchain.io and then go to stake. You have the Bitcoin side where you can earn 8 to 21% on an average of 16% APR, staking your Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. That will be locked up until September 30th. And then you have the two options for the MerlinChain token. The first one is flexible, is day to day. You earn 15% APR. You can actually claim your rewards every day. When you do withdraw, you do have to wait 7 days for that processing period. And then they have the bonded option, which you earn 45%, but you are locked in for 6 months for that. Same thing, you can claim your rewards every day. Head over to merlinchain.io. And then Ordinal Hive is the Ordinal marketplace or aggregator marketplace for Bitcoin ordinals. You're going to find the cheapest ordinals around at Ordinal Hive. They also have really cool trading tools like Mempool Insights. They claim, or they boast, I should say, that they are the fastest ordinals trading platform in the ecosystem. So give it a try. And we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man, as always. And if you guys wouldn't mind taking a look at OnChain Revolution.io, some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. You know, someone just trying to catch up, guys, send them our website. These articles, you can read one by one and really learn what was going on in that time frame. So definitely check that out. Brand new article right here, Kraken, the breakout sex of the 2025 bull cycle. Definitely check out this article, kind of break down exactly why we think Kraken is going to be the #1 exchange in the world one day, potentially. And then you have, if you guys need a VPN, we have NordVPN, guys. Click our link here. It'll take you to the site. It is 76% off, guys. Do not go to Nord. They're going to charge you $11.59 a month. Use our site, $3.09. There's no reason not to. I locked mine in for 2 years because let's say you lock it in for 3 months, you try to come back with that same email, they're not going to give you this price. Lock it in for 2 years. I paid $66, locked it in, set it, forget it. See you in 2 years, and I'm able to use a VPN. Why do you need a VPN? Well, if you go to these sites, you're giving them your IP address, which eventually could lead to your home address. You don't want that. I don't want that. It's actually really stupid. Get a VPN, guys. And then you go to sites and they're geo-blocking you, which means that says, hey, since you're an American citizen or you're in America, we don't want you using our site. You can go get around that. That is through VPN. VPNs are 100% legal. It's all about privacy. You're allowed to protect your IP. You're allowed to protect your privacy. Definitely check that out there. And on top of that, if you guys need merch, we have some of the best merch in all of crypto: shirts, jackets, hats, school bags, and so much more. Check everything out here at onchainrevolution.io. Remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain revolution, roll call, market recap. You not bullish enough, no. You're not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go, Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How do the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain.